prefer no graham crackers. I mean, that's fair. I was just lamenting today. They used to make. They may still exist somewhere, but the only place I ever knew to buy this thing I'm referring to was at Toys R Us, and so I don't know where you would go to find it now. But they used to make like an actual Willy Wonka chocolate bar that was just like milk chocolate and graham crackers, and that sounds like plain or fine or whatever, but like that was some transcendent stuff because like that tasted a whole lot better than that sounds. It was very good, and yeah, I was lamenting today the fact that that no longer exists. Anyway, sure, I'll include that. Ahoy, landlubbers! This be your Captain Vasco speaking, and I welcome you to the stream. It's welcome. It's Saturday, June the 4th, 2022. Hashtag dating this live stream. But it's weird to me that it's this late in the year. It's like, I don't know. May felt like it was really, really long, and like June is like a mythological creature to me at this point. I did, as promised to no one, complete my mail-in ballot after last night's stream, and let me tell you that I felt like garbage this morning because that process sucked a fat one. Imagine an egg, and imagine me crushing the egg with all of the hatred in my heart. And that's how I felt this morning. Like I says, they sell Willy Wonka bars here, but they aren't very good. Now, there's a couple possible explanations for that. I don't know if it's exactly the same thing from my youth, but I also know that there's a big US European divide on chocolate, because in America we use like not a lot of chocolate, virtually no like chocolate solid, I think they call it, in a lot of our like mass-produced candy, and Europeans cannot stomach it. So, like, that could be an explanation. I know this to be true. In case you glitched your way to max hearts and stamina in Breath of the Wild, is that a complicated thing? We use milk chocolate, but as I understand it, like the milk chocolate typically used in something like a Hershey's candy or something along those lines, doesn't it uses. It's been a while since I've looked into this, but like it's come up a few times in my life. I think it uses like cocoa powder instead of actual like cacao or whatever. And like also there's like a preservative agent that's meant to like prolong the shelf life of the candy that also has a certain quality that I won't go into detail about, that like, not putting too fine a point on it, like Europeans who are used to more traditional chocolate like literally cannot stomach because it is gross. Yeah, because it has like a sourness to it by comparison. But I don't know how we got here, other than I want a Wonka bar and they don't exist here, I don't think. Neko, just send them over here. You don't have to eat them. I'll eat them for you if they're the same one. But we're actually here to play Murder by Numbers and not deconstruct the production process of chocolate in various countries in the world. But like that could be a stream. What streaming category would that be on Twitch, do you think? Speaking of, I tried to write the name of the victim in this case, which is, as you know, Dick Stanford, because we're playing the second case in Murder by Numbers. And when I tried to put that in the description of this particular stream on Twitch, it was like, this does not meet the criteria of our auto mod, or something to that effect. And I was like, rude. His name is Dick Stanford. Also, I didn't have enough characters to write Richard, although that also would have just been confusing. Let me open up the game real fast and see if Steam is going to have a problem, because it's acting like it is. I'm going to skip to this. Okay, great. Now, we do this thing where I hit the this button, and it doesn't do anything. And then I click this, Is it gonna do the same thing last time where I have to... No, it figured it out. It took, like, much too long, but it figured it out. Yeah, so Murder by Numbers. So last week we solved, like, a lot more puzzles than I expected to be able to. But ultimately, this game likes to throw some... Red herring might be a little bit strong of a description for them, but it does have a tendency to, like, throw clues at you that aren't extremely essential, which, like, is totally fine by me, because that gives some sense of realism to the act of investigating. Actually, let me get off the screen, because the music is, like, especially loud on the screen for some reason. Backstage... 528? Yeah, 528. So yeah, actually, can we take a look at... So if we question Bobby and then present... So we could take a look at some of the stuff we found. The last thing we've... maybe we'll go in the other order. So we went into the dressing room, I think, like, right at the start of last week's stream. I don't think we had done any of that part of the investigation yet. We pretty much picked that up. So, first we found handprints on Dick, which is... I mean, I'm not sure I want to go into detail about that, but it does suggest that cause of death was strangulation, because that seems kind of weird otherwise. This half of an eclair, I can... It still looks like an eclair to me, but for some reason, after booting the game up again, I totally actually see how it's supposed to be a bottle over here, and then, like, spilled alcohol. Whiskey, as I recall. But, like, that's definitely a donut. It's definitely a donut. And we found that, and that was pretty suspicious, because we later found out that Dick had, like, a 40-year stint of sobriety, which is... That's just so impressive. I mean, he's a fictional character, sure, but, like, I feel like you never hear of someone remaining sober for, like, 40 continuous years. That's so much. We found this hip flask that had, like, matching alcohol that we have, like, I don't know that we specifically have confirmed it belongs to Bobby, but, like, we have a bunch of information that points to it being Bobby's, which in turn sort of implicates him in the crime. I don't think there's actually a page where I can go over the people in the case, but basically, as far as I'm concerned, we have, like, two main suspects. They want us to believe that our ex-husband Ryan is a real suspect, but I don't believe that's true. He does, however, we found he dropped his wallet with a bunch of money and, like, a check stub for a $50,000 payment made today, which is pretty weird, admittedly. But there's Bobby. This guy took over Dick Stanford's show after he was, like, essentially forced to retire. And so, like, he has, you know, motive in the sense that, like, he didn't get along with Dick and his show's not going well, and he feels like Dick is kind of responsible for that or something. But there was another woman named C or a K name. It was like Catherine or Christina? Something Cartwright. And she used to be Dick's host, and he was sort of, like, crappy to her, and it could be revenge, but her behavior and her sort of unwillingness to share some information has me suspicious that she might actually be the culprit in the end. We'll find out. My suspicions were correct in the last case, but that will not necessarily always be the case. Let's catch up with chat a bit, because a bunch of stuff has transpired before we talk to Bobby Bones or whatever. Bobby Guy. RC meetup when? Well, I mean, the two of us are going to meet up in the summer through circumstances. That's fun. About a Valentine's stream where you make cute chocolates, or an Easter egg one where you make colorful chocolate eggs. I mean, I'd be bad at those. Do you remember when I made gingerbread cookies? It'll be like that. Let's see. Ego says, I heard handprints on Dick and then Dema's comment of yum. That's fine. We don't judge here. Gonna be lurking till you set up. Well, have fun with that, Arcadius. I know that is a, I know that struggle of trying to set up the stream. Life is hard. I complain about it all the time. Anyway, so, getting back to the game at hand, I feel like the only thing that we can do, because we've already asked Bobby, like, all these questions, right? Like, no new questions. So I think I'm just supposed to show him the hip flask again, even though I'm pretty sure I've done this already. Yeah, we didn't actually get any information from the PDA. This increases my suspicion that, like, we'll, after incriminating Bobby, find a way to connect Scout to the PDA, and then, like, learn that it was a false lead or whatever. The gingerbread cookies were perfect, and you know it. I know that they're an old family recipe, which started with me because I won't try and hoist responsibility for that onto anyone else in my family. Indeed, they were ginger and cookies. I mean, even that description is honestly too generous. But I was pretty proud of that joke, even though it's really not particularly funny. That's the thing, is, like, I think I'm honestly a funny person, but my own personal sense of humor, like, really gets hung up on stupid stuff that normal people don't think is funny. Hey, Bobby Guy, do you recognize this hip flask, which is probably yours? Nah, see, I think we had this conversation with before. Is it yours? Detectives always have them in the movies. I've never seen one in real life before. Is there someone else I'm supposed to talk to? I thought I, like, came here and the game suggested I was supposed to have a conversation. I'll show him the medallion. Oh, okay. The medallion sort of clinches it, I guess. You told us that Hip Flask was Dick's, but he hasn't had a drink for over 40 years. And surprisingly, he didn't die of thirst. What? Well, then it must belong to somebody else, because it's definitely not me, because I definitely, Hey, what about your ex-husband? He kinda sucks, right? You can't pin this on me, coppers. I didn't do anything. Can I ask him questions now? No, that's curious. If I show him the other thing I've found since last talking to him. Becca says her brother doesn't know the Renegade Constabulary and loved the gingerbread cookies. Now, I'm going to assume that you mean he liked the joke and not that you attempted to recreate that recipe and feed it to a human being, because, Lord, that's some sort of crime. Okay. Clearly I must talk to someone else, but I don't know who or where, so let's go to... I don't think I can do anything in the Can I go somewhere else in the city? No, unsurprisingly, I cannot. Main hall. Maybe, okay. Something is happening. You know, I get the feeling Bobby really was looking for something. Do you think there's evidence hidden here? Doesn't hurt to take a look around. Scan mode. This is why they call me Scantron. Let's go to the hall right now. Okay. This is a tricky one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, it's not enough. That isn't enough. There are many of these that do not seem especially helpful. Where shall I begin? Next time you suggest using crystallized ginger. It's just ginger and a lot of sugar. That would make it more like a cookie than my gingerbread cookies. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Oof, this feels like a tough one to start on. There's a lot of ones. Ones are the bane of my existence. Even, like, 2s and 3s aren't usually, like, that bad, but, like, when one of these has just, like, mostly 1s, it's like, we're in for a ride. Here, let's see if I got this to work correctly. I tried setting up... Okay, delete and return points, manage prediction, start prediction. No, it didn't save. That's really frustrating. Here, I'll start the prediction. I feel like the only way this actually works is if someone takes the against. So we were doing some math last week, but I maintain that I want predictions to be a thing. So, I for one, am not feeling confident going into this, for starters. So use that information as you will. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I literally don't know where to start, which is like not great. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. I guess we start here? So, give me a second here. Space. Or it could be 1, 2, 3, space, 1, 2, space, 1, 2, space. So those should be the overlap between the two possibilities there. I think I could technically do the same thing with the 1, 2, 1, 2, I think. So if we do like 1 space, 1, 2, space, 1 space, 1, 2, or we do 1, 2, space. It's gonna work as cleanly with this many and smaller groups. But I think we just do the extreme, right? So like 1, 2 space, 1 space, 1, 2 space. 1? No. This basically is nothing, and this is nothing. But I think these two count. And this is why you bet against me with your channel points. Just not a lot to go on. About these, like, 2 space, 1 space, 1 space, 1. Yeah, that's like a whole lot of flex there. We could do like 1 space, 1 space, 1 space. Yeah, that doesn't work at all. You need like larger groups or like just lots of smaller groups. But if we had enough like smaller groups, it'd probably just like fit. It'd probably just like fill the thing. This like literally seems impossible. I'm just not smart enough to do this. And it's like the first thing at the start of the stream, and it just feels like that's gonna be a problem. 1, 2, 3, 1. I just like genuinely don't know where to start. Everything is in like a precise state of being either too much or too little. I maintain these two could be correct. Alright, so let's do this way, right? So like there's only 2 and 3. If we consider this the bottom of 2, there's not enough space for there to be a blank and then 3. So this has to be part of 3. Which means that's empty, because the 3 can only reach as far down as this, or as high up as this. And then, like, I don't really have enough to extrapolate meaningfully from the 2, or, like, where the other blank space is. So it's, like, not super helpful. But we're gonna have to try real hard. I don't think we can actually do anything super meaningful here. Because, like, the 2 could either be, like, 1 space below or 1 space above. But, like, that doesn't tell us where the blank space would be, so it doesn't exactly limit where the 4 could be. Is this small enough that I could do... Give me a second. 2, 3, 4, space, 2. Or we could do, like, 2, space... 2, 3, 4. I guess, like, that is a point of overlap. It's like the furthest up this could be is to here. And if we did 2 space, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this space is in both of them. So I guess we could argue that, like, those both have to be blank because this row has only groups of 1. Doesn't exactly place anything else there, but, like, making the progress that I can make. Anything there? I already did the 3. Something interesting with, like, this 3. It's like one of the only other, like, big things left to do. I guess technically I could do something with the 4 here. Because, like, this being here limits where 4 continuous spaces could be, which means it could be, yeah, 2 points of overlap. So that means this has to be blank because this is a finished group of 2, and that would make this a finished group of 1. Which also makes this where the 3 goes. God, there's just so many small groups. This is gonna take forever. Okay, so we did the 4. I didn't do this 3 yet that I was talking about. So I could do, like, hypothetically, like, 1, 2, 3, space, 1, 2, space, 1, whatever, like, 1, space, 2. Yeah, I think the other important thing is, like, 1, space, 1, 2, space, 1, 2, 3. So, like, those should be overlap. And if that's true, that makes this a closed group of 2 there. Okay. Oh, and this is interesting. Because I did this, the bottom group in this row is 4, and now it's limited to 6 total spaces. Picked the wrong thing. So, like, those 2 should both be points of overlap, which make this the finished, like, second group, or the second group that is 2. The only group of 2 has to be, like, the highest group up, which suggests... I'm looking at this column now. Which suggests that, like, both of these should be finished groups of 1. Like, even if this is, like, the bottom of the 2, you'd still need, like, 4 additional spaces for, like, there to be, like, a filled 1. So that means, like, both of these have to be the bottom groups of 1. So, like, those we can close off in that fashion. Which then means this can't be part of the group of 4, which means the group of 4 has to be exactly here. And it also means that this is the finished bottom group here, which also means that this is the finished group of 2 here, which leaves only 2 additional spaces for there to be 1 in that row. Alright, all of a sudden, we got... It looks like we're solving puzzles. What else might we be able to do? Yeah, that's not... I can't do anything else there yet. Can't do anything there just yet. Oh, that's actually really interesting. So if we look at this column, it only has 2 and 1, and we already have a 1 by itself, which has to be closed off. And we have a space that like should be part of a group of 2, which means anything more than 1 above that can't be part of anything, which could help with something at some point. But another thing that it does mean is we should be able to finish this row, because now we know that this has to be a group of 2, and then the other group of 2 can only go there. Giraffe. Do you think, Demolition, that it is giraffe? Do you think we're making a giraffe? 2 space. That's interesting. So does this mean we have 2 filled-in spaces here that are separated by 1? The only group of 3 has to be the top out of 3 groups, so it seems like extremely unlikely. It'd be like 3 space 1 space not enough. So this can't be part of a group of 3, which then means that these have to be part of separate groups, which means there has to be a space between them, which also then means that specifically this has to be the bottom group of 2 and the group of 1 in the middle. And then, since there's now only one group of 3 continuous spaces, that has to be where the group of 3 exists. And we could block these off because the first group in each of these rows is 1. This also means that this is blank and that these are filled in as part of the group of 4 for this column, and also indicates an overlap here for the remaining group of 2 out of those 3 spaces. Also means that this has to be part of this group of 3 at the start of this row, and then that leaves only 2 spaces to finish out that row. And that then means that this is a completed group, and that the 2 has to be somewhere in these 5 spaces. So that doesn't narrow that down, like, super all that much. So the first group in this row has to be filled in, because it has to be... This group of 2 has to be here, but also, we now only have 4 spaces for a column of 4 to go there, so that fills in nicely. Hey, Sniper Joseph, welcome to the stream. No need to apologize for missing streams. I mean, my life is so busy right now, trust me, I get it. I'm just happy that you even, like, want to show up, and it's always happy to have you here. I'm always happy to have you here. I don't know what "it's" means in that sentence, but it's happy to have you here, too. Yeah, I'm solving some puzzles as slowly as humanly possible. It's going great. So, this has to be a group of 2, and it's closed here, which means there's only 1 space to fill in this column. And I'll reassess that in a second. Plus, there's always VODs, you know. Check out the VODs when I get around to putting them on YouTube. Maybe the interaction will make someone else find my videos someday. Probably not. But regardless... Oh, hey, look at this. There's only a group of 2 and 1, so this one's nothing. That's a blank space, baby. And I'll write your name. And Demolition clarified earlier, does believe that this is the corpse of a giraffe that we will consider a clue and then drag it around, and nobody will ever have an appropriate reaction to us dragging a whole giraffe around. That sounds like adventure gaming to me. That's my experience with it. You did watch last night and we're dying of laughter with Oda. That's fair. I truly don't understand. Like, the more I've thought about it since, like, replaying the Oda ending, like, that branch of the story in, AI the Somnium Files, the more I'm like, wait, your expectation is that I see that and go, oh, Oda's not such a bad guy? Like, really? Because everything I find out makes me think he's worse than I previously thought he was. It just keeps getting worse all the way down. And yeah, I mean, hey, I'm happy to be streaming. I'm just excited people want to watch. I said it yesterday and I'll say it again today. I mean, I like to think I'm entertaining, but that's like a really narcissistic thing to say, and so, like, it's kind of hard to believe that. So these should be closed off groups per the rows. Like, this row's done. I finished this one. I'm proud of me. Somewhere in here is another group of 2, but it can't go here. So that one's also dead. Yeah, Oda's mom even apologized for Oda. Also, welcome, Castle. Arrgh. Is that... I'm sure I asked you this at some point. Is that indeed a reference to Monty Python and the Holy Grail, or is it just similar? Because that's why I read it that way, is because I think of it when they're in like a cave at some point and they have a torch up and they're trying to like analyze like this old message someone left behind. They're like, we have to go to Castle Arg. And then one of them suggests that they were like eaten by a monster or something, and he's like, but why would you continue to write if you were dying? It is a reference. Okay, good. I feel good about that. That guy says, I knew Ota sucked. There's a reason he's by far my most hated character in Somnium Files. I mean, to be clear, at no point would I ever argue that Ota didn't suck, but like the Ota ending, which seems to be trying to endear you to him, goes out of its way to introduce more things to hate about him, which is wild. Who's your most loved? Kaniza? I think that's the name of a character, right? That sounds right. Okay, so now that I eliminated some squares at the top, we know that there's a space of overlap here where there needs to be a group of 2 for this column. We also know that this has to be a finished group of 2 for that row, which in turn means this has to be filled and this has to be empty because there's no group of larger than 1 remaining in this row. All right. We now also know that this is a point of overlap for there has to be a group of 2 hiding somewhere in here, in this space. And because there's only groups of 1 in this row, that means that the 2 has to go there, which is great. Okay, so there has to be a group of 3 somewhere in this collection of 5 empty spaces. So there needs to be an overlap here, which per this row means that this has to be an empty space, because again, no group's larger than 1. Big fan of Detective Kombucha. I'll be honest with you about something. There's so many jokes and so many like wrong names that they suggest that like sometimes I struggle to actually remember the name of that character. And I'm not sure if that's amazing, terrible, or both. Since the whole joke is that like he's like forgettable or what have you. This has to be a closed group, which might do something. It doesn't quite sort out the rest of this row. This one. So what am I missing? I don't know if I should be proud of myself for getting this far without, like, really getting stumped since, like, properly starting this puzzle, or if I should be disappointed that I'm now stuck. Maybe both. Maybe also both. Por qué no los dos? By the way, I was thinking about this, like, a lot this week. How wild this game is to play on stream. Of, like, I have to, like, think, like, genuinely really hard to solve some of these puzzles. And then, like, have to try and do, like, entertaining voices. And it's just like, it's, like, do you get whiplash watching this? I get whiplash. By the way, taking a look at how much of this puzzle I've solved so far, like, high-heeled shoe or something? I mean, there's clearly some stuff to fill in here. But just, like, trying to figure out what this is. Maybe it's, like, a dead fish? Maybe it's, like, a whole fish. I can kind of see that. Yeah, I guess the problem I'm facing now is that
giraffe.
I mostly giraffe just have, like, really small groups to work with. Actually, let's think about something for a second here. So this, I guess there's 2 individual spaces and those are filled in already. And then I have like 4 spaces where I need a group of 2, so it's really not enough to call overlap. Also, this column's gonna be no help because there's just 1 somewhere, and that could be like anywhere. 2, 1. Yeah, I'm missing something that makes this make sense. And you know I abhor the concept of guess and check here. Okay, hold on. I might have something. So this column has 4 total groups, a 2 at the bottom, and then 3 additional 1s. I can't fit 2 individual groups of 1 in here, which means that this blank space has to be filled per the column. But that also means that these have to be blank per the row, because there's only 3 groups horizontally. That in turn means that this space is blank, and that this has to be filled in, and that all 3 of these have to be filled in. Which means this has to be part of a group of 2 in order to finish this row, and then nothing else there is filled in. And then this has to be blank per both the column and the row. Now there's only 2 spaces for a whole group of 2 to go. And this row has only 1s in it. And there has to be... Oh, shoot. At some point I filled this in. I'm hoping that was recent and I don't look completely ridiculous. But I think that's it. What am I looking at? I'm just trying to guess this, like, before I, like, fill it in and find out whether it's right or not. It kind of looks to me like a high-heeled boot, which even that's kind of generous, to be fair. But then it has what, like a thought bubble? Like, what is that? Okay, let's fill it in and see if this is even correct. I'll be, like, reasonably impressed with myself if it is, because this was not an easy one. And it's, like, my warm-up for doing these puzzles. So, like, oof. So, like, oof, I guess, is my whole TED Talk. So yeah, again, my guess is, assuming I fill this in and it's completed, thinking man's boot. I did it! What? Handkerchief. Delicious points. Hey, did anyone actually join in on this? No. No outcome. Very well. Choose outcome success, no winners. Very well. A silk handkerchief, that's weird. And kind of gross. Perhaps Bobby dropped it when he left. Maybe. He doesn't strike me as the silk handkerchief type. What do these embroidered letters indicate? I don't know, they're completely illegible. They look closer to like a thumbprint than anything else. Don't sneeze? Is it supposed to say DS on it? DS? Scout! This must belong to Dick Stanford! But Dick died in his dressing room. What is his handkerchief doing here? Sniff. And why does it smell like whiskey? I did it! Everything in this room. I have questions for this man? Can we talk? Do we have to? I'm snowed under with paperwork here. And didn't your mom want her bag back? But, I may have taken some creative license with that whole situation in order to, like, do your job for you, while for some reason you're doing paperwork at a crime scene. And I don't know if that happens, like, a lot, but that sounds weird to me. Tell me your thoughts. I wanted to hear your thoughts on the case. An experienced detective like you? I bet you've already figured out who done it. Spare me the flattery, Ms. Rahi. You're not getting my permission to investigate. I'm just waiting for the forensics report to show up. Then I'm starting the interviews. Does that order seem weird to anyone? Now, if you don't have all the information from the forensics reports, there's certainly some things you might have to ask again, but, like, it feels weird to just, like, wait to do any sort of investigation for that period of time. That sounds weird to me. Forensics report? But we already know Dick was strangled. Neko did not approve. Right, any amateur could see that, as you've demonstrated. But we still need to know the details. Time of death, blood tests, that sort of stuff. I'd rather be collecting evidence instead of waiting for paperwork, but I've got to make sure I follow procedure to the letter after what happened on the last case. Are you saying we'll see who gets the last laugh? I can't help but feel kind of responsible, seeing as I was exactly kind of responsible. Good. One of the many reasons I don't want you getting involved again. What's with all the paperwork? Never struck me as the academic type. Captain's orders. I gotta do this one strictly by the book. Everyone at the station's been giving me crap since the case at your studio. I arrested the wrong guy, the murderer escaped, and all the crucial evidence was found by an amateur in a talking alarm clock. I know, he's definitely more of like a tape deck? No, Scout did not like that. Sorry, we're not trying to ruin your reputation, Detective. We're just naturally very talented. Ruin my reputation? They already think I'm too old for casework. The department's full of know-it-all kids these days. Why, back in my day, we had to go uphill both ways in the snow just to get a single clue. I've been trying to tell them something stinks about the way Frank Pritchell died, but they won't listen. About my mom. You seemed surprised when I mentioned my mom. Did you think I was a clone or something? I did. I guess I was shocked at the thought that there might be another version of you walking around. In truth, it probably has something more to do with the fact that our father was a detective previously, so he may have some existing relationship with her? Or maybe like a capital R relationship, if you know my insinuation. Another me couldn't be further from the truth. That's what everyone says, but we all end up like our parents one way or another. Haven't you seen those insurance commercials? Frank Pritchell. You mentioned Frank Pritchell. That's the guy who killed Blake, right? Right. Jumped from the 10th floor before I could get to him. Neat little suicide note, no evidence of forced entry. I guess it was kind of a neat note. But you don't think he killed himself? I don't know what I think yet. What I do know is I've been working cases since before you were in diapers, and I've learned to trust my gut, my human intuition. And it's telling me something screwy about the way Frank Pritchell died. Was it perhaps the slide whistle sound effect? I don't like handkerchief? I feel like if we show him much of this evidence, he'll get mad at us, but that's probably what's going to move the case forward, huh? I don't want to risk showing that until I'm absolutely sure. Is that true of the PDA as well? Yeah, figured. The medallion we also found later, but I'm still curious. No, okay. So then how do I become absolutely sure? Is there something else I should show him first? Does he know anything about celebrity gossip? No. Can I implicate my ex-husband? No. Can I show him my locket? No. Alright, let's go bother Bobby, I guess? Since I can't even talk to... Catheristina? Since I can't talk to Catheristina, it really strongly suggests that there's only one person that I can even consider a suspect, which is a little odd. I guess. And I imagine that I will ask him about the handkerchief because our presumption is that it's a thing he was looking for. Where'd you get that? We found it in the main hall, right where you were standing earlier. It's not mine. I know, the monogram says it was Dick's. That's great. I mean, that's great detective work. Weird thing is, it smells of whiskey. Maybe he liked the smell. Scout, would you join me in the dressing room for a second? Fashion montage? Wait, is Scout gonna help us with a fashion montage? I no longer care about what happened to Dick Stanford. Now I want our floating 90s robot friend to do a 90s fashion montage with us. It's the only thing I want in life. Is this possible? Can this happen? Why, Honor? Yes, let's go. Bye then. Are you ever going to let me finish this report? You don't need to. We've got all the evidence you need. Oh, now I'm certain we have the wrong culprit. You've been investigating? Do you even realize how much danger you're putting yourself in? There's a strangler out there. Oh, I hadn't even considered that, Nego. I thought we were just gonna have Scout, our robot friend, try and understand human fashion and give input. But what if we applied the fashion montage to him and gave him funny hats? Ugh, it's too good not to be true. And yet I fear that it isn't true. Anyway, I guess there's like a murder or whatever. I know, and we think it's Bobby Price. He wanted revenge on Dick for sabotaging his TV career. Dick hated him for taking over Backtalk, and used his influence to attack Bobby in the press. Bobby's ratings hit rock bottom. He's on the verge of cancellation. And tonight, Bobby had to sit and watch the guy who was ruining his career get a Lifetime Achievement Award. That pushed him over the edge. He waited backstage for Dick to go back to his dressing room, and then he strangled him. There's something that doesn't quite fit with that, though. I think. So if I remember the timeline correctly, we came to the award show. They gave the Best Actress award, and Becky was upset. Then Dick came on to receive his Lifetime Achievement Award, but was already acting unusual, as though he were drunk. So it would suggest that, like, watching that likely wasn't the triggering event to make the killer want to target Dick Stanford, because it seems as though someone already, like, forced him to get drunk, or somehow, like, used the whiskey to implicate him, or give themselves an alibi in his suspicious behavior or whatever. But, like, if we're suggesting that, like, Bobby saw him acting weird on stage and then get the award, and then decided to kill him, it just doesn't quite line up for me. Which again furthers my suspicion that Christatharin did something. Yeah, I didn't read any of this yet. It's a nice theory, but the only thing tying Bobby to that room is that hip flask, and he says it belongs to Dick. That's where our new evidence comes in. It is medallion and handkerchief. We found Dick's sobriety medallion. That sentence sounds weird. He's been sober for over 40 years. Which means Bobby was lying. The hip flask is his. A sobriety medallion? Where the heck did you find that? In here, detective. Nani? In here? You said you were looking for a handbag? Yes, Scout. We did say that. It's not about who found what. It's about coming to the right conclusions. What a load of crap. Where'd you learn that? Amateur Detective Monthly? No, Amateur Detective Weekly. Thank you. You said it earlier this evening. Nani? Well, you can't, I can't believe I'm getting outsmarted by a toaster oven. Which brings me to the issue of Dick's handkerchief, which also sounds a little lewd. When we found Bobby backstage, he was clearly looking for something. So we had a look in the main hall, around where Bobby had just been. And we found a silk handkerchief that wasn't there earlier. Sniff. That thing stinks of booze. I think something happened to make Bobby nervous. Really nervous. So nervous he needed a drink to calm his nerves. You think he killed Dick? He has the means, the motive, and the opportunity. But he wasn't prepared for how it would affect him. He was shaking so badly he dropped his hip flask. And what about the handkerchief? He'd just killed Dick and spilled his drink everywhere. He was desperate to clean up the evidence and get out before anyone found him. So he grabbed the nearest piece of cloth and used it to mop up the spill. And the fingerprints on the doorknob as he left. Ah, crap, it all fits. Not bad for an amateur, huh? If it wasn't for this report, screw it. I think it's about time I had a chat with Bobby Price. But don't start congratulating yourself just yet, Ms. Rahi. This isn't over. Don't leave town. So, that's the evidence against you. Anything to say for yourself? I didn't mean to do it. I just wanted to talk to him. Call that talking? I'm guessing you didn't like his answer. I didn't get an answer. He came backstage with his award and completely ignored me. Walked straight past like I didn't even exist. I put up with a lot of crap since I took over Backtop, but that was too much. I busted down his door and... But I didn't want to kill the guy, I just got carried away. I swear I barely touched him. Not knowing your own strength is no defense against murder, Mr. Price. I'm taking you in. Don't go anywhere, Ms. Rahi. We still need to talk about this detective hobby of yours. Yeah, where were you? You missed the fireworks. Is Detective Cross still here? Nah, you just missed him. He left with Bobby. What's up? An urgent package arrived for him. I told the police officer I would give it to Detective Cross personally. And they just let you have it? I told them I'm Detective Cross's new personal assistant. They seemed impressed. I'd also watch that show. To be clear, I would watch the show where there's just a grizzled detective who's like assistant. Like, not even partner, but just like... It might be funnier if he's not the partner. Like, that's really front door, right? The idea of, like, an unlikely duo of detectives and one of them is, like, not human. But, like, there's just, like, a lone wolf detective and, like, the person doing all his paperwork and administrative support is just, like, a floating puzzle-solving robot. I'd watch it. I think I preferred you when you didn't know how to lie. What was the delivery? I'm not sure, but it must be important. I'm really hoping it's not a bomb. It feels like it's a bomb. Okay, hold on. So we have 15 spaces, which means the overlap of 8 is exactly 1 space in the middle, which would be this one. It doesn't really... Well, I know that this has to be part of the group of 2 for this row, because you couldn't fit a 2 and a space, so, like, that has to be off limits. That's cool. For a width of 10, overlap of a group of 6 could be as such, with 4 on either side. That's cool. Echo says, take away the part where the robot floats and you just described Detroit Become Human. Is that... That's not quite true, is it? Because, like, Connor's like an actual detective. Despite what human guy wants to believe. Also, I did like Detroit Become Human, so, like, that tracks. This is another overlap of 6, and this technically has the same overlap because it is an odd number out of an even number of spaces. Same here for the 7. So what does that let us do, precisely? Well, for this column, we know that there's only 2 groups of 4, so when there's, like, a spacing like this, it means that there has to be a space between them, and then it either reaches to the bottom or it doesn't. And so, like, I think we can safely assume that everything that isn't within range to be part of a group of 4 here is also checked out. that might help a little bit. Here we have 4 groups. 1, 2, space. 1, 2, 3, space. 1, 2, space. No, that's too much. However, we can surmise that these should probably also be grouped together for the reasoning that you couldn't make this a group of 3 and then there be a space, etc. And so, like, this has to be part of a combined group, and it has to be the 3, which is the bottom. So that in turn means that 1, 2, 1, 2. These have to be blank because these 2 spaces together have to be part of the group of 4 for this row, which means that they can only reach 2 spaces on either side of where they currently are, and the one floats somewhere to the left. Okay. Brain wants to do some erroneous conclusions that aren't helpful. I could rule out a little bit more. This bottom 4 would probably be relatively easy. So what else do we have? Got 15 spaces vertically. So I think you need something else to go on to conclude anything about these 2 groups of 4. But I guess I could try that. 1, 2, 3, 4, space. Yeah, no, there's nothing meaningful to be done. This one. I'm just, you know what? I think the easiest way for me to think about this is to just, like, hypothetically fill this in. 1, space, 1, space, 1, 2, space, 1, space, 1, 2. It's not a lot to go on, but I'll still try the extremity tactic. 1, 2, space, 1, space, 1, 2, space, Pretty sure this means nothing. There's conclusion to be drawn there, but I think it's erroneous. Oh, okay, here's something I could work with. So this has to be crossed off because the bottom group here has to be 5, and obviously 5 doesn't fit in those 2 spaces I hadn't ruled out yet. Similarly, there's only 1 group of 4 for this column, so that doesn't work either. Which also then means that, like, a group of 4 can't fit between these spaces, which means that we have an overlap, this is proper overlap, of 3. So we can either reach to here or to there. But then, this lets us do the fun thing if we can close off groups because we have the bottom row filled. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cool. Love to see that. That's a pretty big get. And then here we have a group of 4. 1, 2, 3, and the bottom makes 4. Closes this group. That also should mean that this is part of the group of 2, because there's no space to fit an additional group of 2 to the left of it. But that should be true. Which means that we can actually rule out both of these spaces because you couldn't fit the group of 3 that's supposed to go somewhere in this column there. So that rules out some helpful stuff. That actually completes this group of 4 here, and then since the 1 has to be to the left, it has to be there, and then that leaves only all the way to the bottom or these top 3. So there's overlap here, so that has to be filled in too, which finishes this row of 6, and it also clears everything above that. If you look at this row, both of these have to be empty because we need a group of 2 together. And now if we 4, 5, 6, 7. So this we can consider ruled out because this group of 7 can't reach that far. And technically, by the nature of this placement, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, that's fine as it is. Okay. Do anything else with that 4 yet? Oh, here's something interesting. So this column's remaining group of 3 can either reach all the way down here, or it can reach as high as 1, 2, 3. But then everything above that highest point should be ruled out for the entire column. And it also means there's a point of overlap here, which is obviously the closed group of 2 for that. I can't rule out either of these just yet, but we can make that into a completed group of 2 as well, which gives us an additional point of overlap there for our group of 4 in this column. Speaking of groups of 4 in a column, we now know that the highest this group of 4 can reach is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then everything above that could be ruled out. This makes this a completed group of 1. And then we have 2 points of overlap because the group of 3 has to go somewhere within 4 spaces. Oh yeah, now that we've ruled out stuff, like we can, this is... Wait, do we just have the remaining 7 if we ruled out everything else from this row? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, look at that. That's funny. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then here we can do all but 1. So like 3, 4, 5. And then the final one goes in either of those 2 spaces. And that's still on the table because that's within 4. Okay. It's interesting. This means this has to be part of the group of 5. It also means that this is a closed group of 3. Because it's the only group of 3 continuous spaces there. And this also should be a closed group of 2 because there's nothing bigger than a group of 2 here. Actually, I wonder something. 1 space 1 space 1, 2 space 1 space 2. Not quite. We can almost fill that whole row. In fact, we should, even though we can't do the whole row, we should actually be able to say with confidence that the remaining spaces above this should be like filled in, blank, filled in, because that's the only way to fit those remaining groups up there. This top row only has groups of 2, so we'll rule out those. Could not fit a 2 and then also a space, which means this has to be the group of 2, which means that's closed off, and that's the 4. Okay, that looks good. Doesn't do anything there. Fine. Yep, that's all fine. If this is true... It's interesting. So we need a group of 1 that's separate from a group of 5. We know that these 3 spaces are part of a group of 5, which means that the only way that all of that can be true is for this to be filled in, and then a space, and then this be 5 continuous spaces in the column. And there's only groups of 1 in this row, which means that both of the things on either side of this have to be blank, and that has to be filled in, which makes that a finished group, which makes this a finished group. That also makes this a finished group, and there should be a point of overlap, and one of these spaces is filled in and one is blank. Okay, this should be filled in for both the row and the column, and this should be blank because we finished everything there, which also means that this should be filled in group of 4, and nothing else in this column is applicable. Is this filled in now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, but we have 8 spaces, so there's only 1 flexibility point there. curious. Won't take much to finish off this column or this row, but I don't think we have it yet. So what else can we do? This has to be the bottom group, so it has to be a group of 2. So that's something. That also is the only remaining point for this row, so that's done. We also know that there has to be 2 individual spaces filled in this row, and there's only 2 blanks, so both of those have to be filled in. Which means that, because it can't reach any further down, and we need 1 more group of 2, it should work like that. Which then fills in the 7, which fills in the 3, which fills in the 4s, both row and column. These groups of 1 should be separated, which also means that that group of 1 is filled in. This is blank, which means this is blank because we've already filled in 6, which means this is filled. And we did it. It's a footprint? No, a fire extinguisher? It's a blood test? It's a blood test. I think it's a fire extinguisher. I think they're just wrong. I think they're wrong this time. Delicious points! I didn't rank up. You know, I actually thought we were a little closer to the end of the case than we are if our rank is D. I don't think I've missed anything. This must be the forensic report Cross was waiting for. It doesn't look like it, because even if you're saying that it's a blood test, it looks closer to a vial of blood than it does the results of the forensics report. Oh my. If I'm reading this right, then these blood results mean... What? What does it mean? I have to take this to Cross. This changes everything. So all the cases are gonna do this, yeah? This is just what we do, is like we find like one plausible theory, we arrest a guy, and then we fix it. What changes everything? Beep boop. Detective Cross, where's Bobby? Talking to his lawyer, why? Dick's blood test came back and, well, see for yourself. My God, it's raspberry flavored. Come on with this. Come on with this dialogue. I don't believe it. This says, and that means, but what about that thing? Bobby Price couldn't have killed Dick Stanford because he was already dead. I don't understand. Bobby confessed. He confessed because he went in and touched the body and then it was dead, and so he panicked. A dorp. Demolition has 3 questions. 1, how did it get done this early? Reasonable question. It hasn't been particularly long. 2, why is it lying around? Well, that one's actually relatively easy because Scout said that, like, a police officer gave it to him because he thought it was a delivery, and he thought the robot was his personal assistant. So that one's sort of explained. 3, where's an actual cop? Important question. Important question. The robot's got a point, and there were strangulation marks on Dick's throat. I never said Bobby was lying. He did strangle Dick, but that wasn't what killed him. According to this blood test, Dick was poisoned by a poisonous snake. He died before Bobby even laid a finger on him. Alright, there's still one thing about that. Like, I'm willing to accept that. Conceptually, that makes enough sense. Is that he was mad, and he went in, and he was mad enough to strangle him and didn't realize he was dead. But, like, he really, like, strangled the corpse hard enough to leave handprints on it? Even though he was already dead? I feel like it wouldn't take all that much of an effort to try and strangle him to, like, discern that the body was dead, right? You're telling me Bobby strangled a corpse? I don't even know if that's illegal or not. But that means whoever killed Dick is still on the loose. And there's nothing worse than a loose dick. Yeah, I mean, that's like my bigger problem, Demolition. It's like, how do you, like, I get that, like, you walk into the room and you don't notice right away, but then, like, I feel like the second you sort of get your hands around the throat of the dead person, I feel like you probably notice pretty quickly that, like, there's no resistance at all, and that by, you know, extrapolation, the person's probably not doing okay. Not for long. We've got that whole building in lockdown. Whoever it is, we've got them cornered. That means there's still time. Let's go. Oh, I can imagine how he'll respond to that. Why, I yada? Wait a minute. How did you get out of the building? One of your officers thinks I'm your personal assistant. That's also a crime. Gee, I don't know how they got that idea. You know, you two make a really great argument for early retirement. What happens to Bobby now? He's out on bail. One of the benefits of being a TV star, I guess. Good lawyers. So he's gone? What if we still need to question him about something? He's not going anywhere. One of the conditions of his bail is that he cooperates in the investigation. Don't forget, I've done this 100 times. I know what I'm doing. Unlike you. Detective! I saw you talking to Bobby, taking Bobby Price into custody. I always knew he was trouble. In that case, I'm sorry to disappoint you, seeing as he's innocent. Innocent? Are you sure? Found the evidence myself, Mom. Dick was poisoned. Alright, maybe the only thing worse than loose dick is poisoned dick. That's just a rude thing to do. But don't worry, we'll catch the real killer soon. Maybe, I don't know, I'm a floating robot. I've had just about enough of this. How many times do I have to tell you? You are not detectives. But I don't want to hear it. I let it slide when it was about your friend. But this, you're out of your depth, Mizrahi. Really want to help? Here's a job for you. A hot pink 4x4 was double parked out front. It was getting towed as we arrived. How would we help with that? Are we a traffic cop now? Why don't you two use those detective skills of yours to find the owner? They need to go collect it from the impound lot. A new mystery to solve. There is something really wholesome and delightful about Scout's, like, unmitigated joy just to solve any mystery. You know, like, someone like Honor, I would expect her to feel like she needs to do something important, but Scout just wants to help. He's helping. What a good boy. Forget about it, Scout. He's just trying to keep us out of his way. You're darn right I am. You think this stupid car is more important than finding a murderer? Absolutely not, but it's the only thing I'm going to let you investigate around here. So take it or leave it. I actually like this turn of events. This is nice. We investigated the crime, and now this cop who's understandably sick of our garbage is like, listen, I'll let you do some light detective work, but, like, get out of my way. Like, this is more plausible than I kind of assumed that after the first case, they were going to be like, and now you're a full-blown detective. And I was going to be like, that, come on. Scout is definitely best and a good boy. Perhaps we should just investigate the car, Honor. Whose side are you on? I've even got your first piece of evidence. They checked inside before it got towed and found something on the dash. Let me take a look. Puzzle start. Ah, crumbs. I think this is my first 15 by 15. On the bright side, it might actually look like something other than Ditto's parents fighting. The downside, we're going to be here for a minute. Okay, so 15 across. The overlap is all but 4. Okay. All right. Yep. All right, I'm done. That's as much as I got. Okay. No, hold on. So there's only 4 in this column, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Blank, blank. 1, 2, 3, 4. Blank, blankety, blank, 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 blank. Okay. All right. Very good. Crap. Well. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there's absolutely no way you could fit 7 and do other stuff. So 7 has to be here. How many spaces do we actually have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, that's cool. That's actually much more helpful than I was expecting. If this is true, we can determine a bunch of crap. Will it get us there? I don't know, but it'll be a pretty solid start compared to some. We can complete all of the top groups for all of these, having some space here. So, like, this is 5, and this is 6. This is 7. That's interesting. Do all of these line up? They should. Looks like they do. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah. Cool, I made a corner. All right. And now... so let's think about this for a second. So, like, 5, 6, 7. There's not, like, a whole lot of variance here. If we look at this the other way, like, 1 space, 1, 2, 3 space. Yeah, okay, so it's literally impossible for this space to be anything, to be part of the 7. Which means, at the very least, we can say that there should be, like, a hypothetical blank here. And then, like, all possible spaces only reach to, like, here. What I'm gonna do... No, I should actually be able to do this. So, in reality... That's like 8. That's 8 total spaces. Do it this way. Technically, I probably should do this in purple. That's also probably not. No, I mean, like, it really literally should be, like, 3, 4... Yeah, no, I think that's actually right. Like, it can reach to the top, or it can reach, like, 1 lower than this, assuming that this is 1, 2, 3, and then the 1 is somewhere below it. But, like... 3... space. Yeah, you, like, physically couldn't... I think this is correct. I'm pretty sure that's correct. I don't feel great about it, but I still think it's correct. Oh, wow, look at this! I didn't notice this. We have a couple of columns that are already done. Which is pretty bananas, actually. No worries, Neko. I'm honestly not sure what I expect anyone to say, but I'm happy to interact with chat while also trying to solve the puzzles. Because that's streaming! That's what streaming is! Okay, this hasn't narrowed down at all. The rest of these have, like, other stuff going on, and I'm not sure I can quite get to those yet. these. So I think we can safely conclude that because you wouldn't be able to fit like 10 whole spaces over here, that the 5 has to be like 2, 3. There's some overlap of the 5 there, but then like these 4 all have to be filled in for this first group, which then should let us fill in a bunch of stuff from the bottom, which is neat. So like that should be 4, and then like this should be 3, 2, and 1. Corners! But we should also be able to do that sort of thing here. So this should be the bottom group of 2, bottom group of 3. Okay, so if we look at this row here... Geez, I think we finished some rows too, huh? So this row is done. It only has a 4 and a 1. This row only has a 3 and a 1, so it's done now. I'm putting a lot of faith in this. This might prove to be a mistake. But also, I was noticing that this should be ruled out because we now only have one remaining group of 3, and that can't reach all the way over to here. So that rules those out. Here I can't do too much of imports. Same with the ones above it. Although we now know that we have only groups of 1 remaining in this row with the 5, 1, 1. Technically, we could do a space, like a 1, a space, and then this be part of the group of 2. So I'll leave that alone for now. I think I want to mess with this one just yet. I don't think I could do anything useful there. We do know that the furthest to the right should be a 3, and there's literally only space for that here. Same with this. I think those are both fair to say. Which should... Well, close off this one. We have a floating 1 somewhere in here that I don't think I can call out just yet. It feels likely that this 5 will reach to the corner to continue the corner pattern we have going on, but I'm not gonna commit to that. Also, this top right corner probably doesn't... No, it could hypothetically fill in that way. See, now we're down to a tricky part where there's just like a lot of 1s left. Oh, but if we look at this, now there's only an unsolved 3 in the column. So these 2 can't work. That's a little something. If I rule out 1 more space anywhere in this row, I should be able to figure out... Oh no, hold on. Because there's still a group of 1 unaccounted for. So, like, that means that, by definition, these 3 have to be filled in. That's cool. That also means this whole column is done. That's hopefully useful? That might not be useful. It's a lot of small groups. It does, however, also mean that's a group of 2, and that is a group of 3. So we got our corner after all. And that also means... Give me a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. None of these can be part of the remaining group of 5. Also... Thank you to Haggis for a 54-month resub at Tier 2. It's been a minute, hope you're doing well. Haggis says, speak up, Sonny, I'm getting old. Feel like I've subbed here for 54 months. Long enough to have birthed 6 children. How's it going, folks? I'm tired. That's what I think you sound like. Just kidding. It's going well. We're trying to solve mysteries and whatnot. Also should be able to similarly be like 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything above that should be able to. Hope we're doing well, Haggis. I know you've been like doing a lot of like real life stuff lately, which is typically exciting, but also can be quite tiring, yeah? Yeah, technically that could still go there. Oh, hang on! Wait, I should be able to do something. Hold on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11. So we have 12 total. Like, I think we should be able to... 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. That helps. Oh, that does help. For the reasoning that... Oh, that's interesting. So... the far left one isn't done yet, but this one is done. We have a group of 6, 1, and 3. We have 5, 1, and 2 now. Here. And then we have 4, 1, and 1. So that rules out a bunch there, but again, with the really small groups, that doesn't immediately tell me anything. This should be closed off because I can only have groups of 2 in this row, which then means that this should fill in this column and also finish the row thusly. I guess I forget, have you seen any of this game? It's tough for me to track everyone all the time because I'm not actually a floating computer. Which, I'm as disappointed as you are, frankly. Space. Blah, blah, blue. I know! Like I said, I'm just as disappointed as you are that I'm not a robot that's tracking all your personal data. Hey, so check this out. We got, like, only one area where a group of 3 could fit, and it's just small enough that I can put a point of overlap in it. Which is interesting because it allows me to rule out everything below this as being eligible, because the group of 2 was the lowest thing in this row. Which in turn means this can't be part of the group of 5, and confirms that that reaches to the corner, as expected. It's incredibly likely that this group of 2 and this space are filled in, but I'm not messing around with that. Stopped in the last few streams. Gotcha. It's Deca says she feels lied to that I'm not a stalker robot. I mean, look, I do a pretty convincing impression of a stalker robot, don't get me wrong, but I've also never explicitly stated that I was a robot. Oh, hang on. This is a group of 4. Oh, also, yes, this is... Literally, by definition, both of these have to be filled in. So cool, we got our corner, which means we could finish this one. And this can't be filled in because we're missing a whole group of 3. We have this overlap here. And that has to be blank, and now there's only 2 spaces for that missing group of 2, which is exciting. So that's done. There's only... Wow, look at this. There's only groups of 1 space filled in this row. And so there's only enough space for it to exactly fit like this. So that's interesting. That also determines where a group of 4 is. Oh yeah, for some reason I wasn't counting the space and got really concerned for a second. But we have our group of 1, which means our remaining groups can't fit here. Which means that this has to be our group of 3, and that reaches to the top, yeah? Which completes this. And it looks like that's complete too. And like this is complete. So like this is where a group of 2 is, and this is where a group of 3 is. And then this is one continuous group of 3, which means this is the last space. It's an envelope. It's a letter. It's an envelope. I literally said the word and everything. Great. I guess this house hunting has been mercifully abandoned. We're not quite ready for it. I mean, that's fair. It's a big undertaking. So like, if you can make peace with the fact that you're not ready for that, like that is a positive for sure. I'm sure you will get there in the long run. Tuesday grad school app coming up. Awesome, exciting stuff, Haggis. Congrats. Congrats on like living your life and being cool and stuff. What do you think's in the envelope? Do you think I hit rank C? I hope so. There we go. Hooray! Aha, it seems to be a letter. What's funny about that is, like, I get that, like, the puzzle solving is, like, this game's, like, mechanic, because otherwise it would just straight up be a visual novel, which is fine, but, like, this game chooses to be a visual novel with some gameplay elements. But it's really funny that, like, the detective is like, here's your first clue. And then, like, instead of the human just being like, let me see that, Scout's like, allow me to turn it into a puzzle and obscure its identity for another few minutes. Great, a new lead in the most pointless errand ever. What a good attitude. If Detective Cross won't let us investigate the murder, we don't have to give up. We should just focus on what we can do instead. Also, because of the way this story is framed, it will almost definitely relate to the murder somehow. He only gave us this dumb job because he wants to keep us out of his hair. How does that help? That might be what he intended, but we could still use it to our advantage. He's given us a chance to show what we can do, which is mostly solve nonograms. You're right, Scout. We're pretty much only good at solving nonograms. Up until now, he's always been there. But now we can prove we can handle something without any help. Right, we just have to find out who this letter was sent to. I mean, it might just be like a... Considering the setting, it feels like it could just be a message in an envelope that was meant to be left or handed to someone. Nothing we can't handle. We are a team, after all. So what does it say? I can't make it to the awards tonight, sweetie. Your idiot father is remodeling the kitchen again. I hope this cute car makes up for it. Lots of love. Mom. Hugs and kisses. Oh, I've got a pretty good idea who this belongs to. Just 1 second, Honor, Miss Rahi. You're not going anywhere until we talk about this detective nonsense you've gotten yourself into. Sorry, Mom. You heard Detective Cross. We have to find out who owns that car. Oh, don't you worry about him. He understands the situation perfectly well. Oh dear, I can question so many folks. Oh, it literally won't let me go anywhere else because our mom wants to talk to us. So, you're doing detective work now. About this whole detective thing. It's hard to explain. But why? Why do this? You had the job you wanted on that stupid TV program. I mean, oh, right, she still isn't. I keep forgetting that we have specifically not told this character that we are unemployed. I lost that job, Mom. Someone wanted me off the show so badly that Blake got killed over it. I can't go back. So find another show. There must be others. God knows there's enough crap on TV these days. You're well suited to crap. You know I think poorly of you, sweetie. You should be happy. You never wanted me to be an actress anyway. Happy? Happy? Happy that you're risking your neck chasing down murderers? I know you don't agree with it. You're sure right I don't agree with it. You lost your mind? After everything that happened to your father. How can you even say that? Turns out Dick was poisoned. Which, I don't advocate this sort of thing. He was poisoned somehow. We're still trying to figure out exactly what happened, but... Honor, stop! But you loved Dick Stanford. Don't you want justice for Dick? Hashtag justice for Dick. No, of course I do. Hashtag justice for Dick. But not from you. You heard Detective Cross. If you want to investigate something, you find out who owns that car, then go home. I like that we had a little interlude. Like, that first question clearly leads to, like, you think I've forgotten about Dad, but in the interim we're like, that's cool, but, like, Dick was poisoned. How can you say I've forgotten what happened to Dad? I flew back that night. I quit college. And you know darn well why I can't let you go down that road. He spent his whole life chasing criminals, and look where it got him. Don't you dare try to tell me what he would have wanted. I knew him a lot longer than you did. You know what? You're right. I didn't know Dad very well. He never talked to me. Don't be ridiculous. He talked to you. You did lots of things together. He read to you every night. I know. Philip Marlowe, Sherlock Holmes, Poirot. He introduced me to all the great detectives, but never himself. That's not his fault. It was hard enough for him to talk to me about his work. You were just a kid. He was my dad. Didn't I deserve a chance to know him? All I have left is the fiction. It's not the same. You can't put yourself in danger just to feel closer to your father. Focus on the memories he left you. The photographs. Take a look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh. That's why you gave me the locket? I would have given it to you sooner if I had known what you were doing. It was good to see Dad at the Brown Derby again. Did you take the photo? Me? I never went to the Brown Derby. A restaurant that looks like a hat? Stupid idea if you ask me. He always went there with his work friends, his captain and his partner. Gosh, what was his partner's name? I'm sure it's not relevant. Hey, Dad had a partner? Forget about it. Shield is not important. Forget about it. Got it. Totally taking that advice to heart. Who was Dad's partner? You said Dad went to the Brown Derby with his partner? I don't remember Dad having a partner. Of course he had a partner. He was in the police force. You still in contact with them? If anyone could understand what I'm doing, it would be Dad's old partner. I'm sure it's no one we know. Right, chat? Are you with me on this? I'm sure that we do not have any context for knowing who Dad's old partner was. There's so many people in the world that we probably haven't met them. I think they'd tell you to listen to me and keep yourself safe. That's what your father would have wanted. Right? It's just so improbable that we would know that specific detective. Are we just done with her? Like, I don't think we have any evidence to... Well, maybe we could try showing the locket and see if that's, like, more memory stuff. Thanks again for the locket, Mom. Your father was a good man. You need things to remember him by. Yeah, I don't think anything else here pertains to her, so I guess we talk to the detective. Find the owner of that car yet? My mom won't let me go. Well, if we weren't having trouble being taken seriously as amateur detectives before, I don't think that sentence helped. I wanted to solve a crime, but my mom said I couldn't. My mom said I couldn't solve a crime. It's not a sentence I thought I'd have to say at 29 years old. You should listen to her. She's only got your safety in mind. Why do you care about my safety? I have no context from my previous conversation to understand why that would be true. You're always talking about keeping me safe. What does it even mean? When have I ever been hurt? You've been lucky, but you're dealing with killers. That luck's gonna run out sooner or later. Why do you care so much? What are you so scared of? Oh, I get it. Trust me, you don't. No, I get it now. You're old. You said yourself they want to put you behind a desk, but you won't listen. Then me and Scout come along, and we solve Blake's murders, and we find the evidence, and we look good in our silly 90s fashion montage attire. We crack the case? That's got nothing to do with it. You don't care about me. You never have. You're just scared. You're scared that I'm better than you. You're a chicken. A coodle-doodle-doo. That's what chickens sound like. I've heard them. I swore an oath to protect and serve. You're only trying to protect yourself. They do look good with that Dixie Cup chic. I mean, she's definitely got some, like, Dixie Cup vibes, but her shirt is definitely the intro sequence to Saved by the Bell, and you won't convince me of anything else. That's not true. Then what are you scared of, detective? I'm scared you're going to make a mistake, and that you're going to get yourself killed. Stop and think for a second, just 1 second, what that would mean to the people who care about you. For once in your life, listen to what your mom is telling you. Walk away. This car assignment is a joke, right? I don't make jokes. Only lemonade. Freshly squeezed lemonade. It's the only thing to do when life gives you lemons. Do you at least have any leads besides that letter? Oh, now you need my help? You think finding the owner of a bright pink car wouldn't be too difficult? Why are you and Mom ganging up? It's almost as though you have some prior relationship with one another that I alluded to probably like an hour ago in real time, and that was implicated in the previous conversation, and yet is still so statistically unlikely that I'm certain it is not the case. You keep talking about what my mom wants. What about what I want? I swear it's like you two are ganging up on me. She's just talking a lot of sense right now. Hey, what about my dad's partner? Do you know that guy? I just found out my dad had a partner in the LAPD. Do you think you could help me find them? Bwah. Sorry, I'm a homicide, not missing persons. I know, if I could find them, they might be able to tell me more about my dad. I make a point of not knowing people these days. Makes the job easier. I've got a photo of my dad at his favorite restaurant. Can't you at least show it around the station? I'm curious if anyone in chat feels like that's a reasonable request. Specifically considering that, based on past history, at best, we do not get along with this man, with Detective Jerry Cross. Like, he has not exhibited that he wants to be, like, our friend or mentor or have any kind of lasting relationship. He's pretty much just been mad that we keep showing up places that he is, and gets annoyed at us for, like, bothering to mess with his investigation. And so she acts like this is, like, a really small request, but it's like, dude, I already don't want to talk to my coworkers. And I've demonstrated no interest in particularly helping you. So I don't know why it is that you think that I'm just gonna do you this weird favor of, like, going and talking to a bunch of people about this. I guess it says, yeah, but Gordon does work with vigilantes, so maybe he's okay with it. I mean, maybe, but, like, Commissioner Gordon, like, collaborates with the Batman to some extent. He doesn't just keep telling him to leave, like, in most iterations. At most points in most Batman histories that I'm aware of. He doesn't just keep telling him to leave crime scenes and go home and listen to his mother, right? Like, that's not the typical Batman character arc. Look, there are a lot of cops on the force, and the Brown Derby was a popular race. I can't help you. Yeah, I happen to know from having done research for voting in Southern California that there's over 9,000 police in the LAPD. It's like a lot. It's a whole lot. I mean, as Demolition points out, and fairly so, it would be difficult for Batman to listen to his mother, but because his identity is a secret, most of the time, Commissioner Gordon wouldn't necessarily know that. All right, Haggis, be sure to share your Batman listens to his mom fanfic in the Discord when you're done with it. I didn't mention the Brown Derby. This is when the Phoenix Wright music would kick up. Dun, 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 dun. Nani? How did you know it was my dad's favorite restaurant? Like I said, it was a popular place. Just a lucky guess, being a cop and all. I don't know, it's a small world. Statistically, I would have guessed that. Wait a second, I never noticed before, but the photo in this locket is folded in half. How would you not notice that? Wouldn't it fit poorly into the locket if you didn't, like, cut it correctly to shape? Uh-oh. Scout, take a look at this. Yeah, it's a puzzle. It's a puzzle. Oh, and it's one of these. I have to say, I'm a little disappointed that our first, like, 15 by 15 didn't look more like an obvious thing. Oh, Lord, we're gonna be here a minute. Look at this. Look at this. Ugh. Oof. Ah. Eef. Alright, hold on. We're gonna... Here, in case people want to do it, let's start a prediction. Because this is gonna be a... This is gonna be a tough one. So we're gonna be here for a minute. You can wager your channel points if you like, but I think I have to start with testing some purple square theories. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Or if we count from the other side, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Blank, blank. It'd be like space 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, now, using the magic of purple squares, we can start deducing some stuff. Okay, those are closed groups leading up from the bottom. Same here with 1, and 2, and 4, and 5, and 4, 3. Alright, that's kind of a lot. So there's no group larger than 3 in this row, so that's finished. The largest group here is 6, and it goes to this side, so that tracks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That tracks 2. Right? Oh, hang on. Wait, does this one actually just fill in and I'm an idiot? That's probably true, right? So it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then that goes all the way to the edge. Yeah, so like this row's just done. But it bodes well that that math tracks. It feels like that more strongly suggests that that is a reasonable deduction. Also here, this should be a group of 3, because the group closest to the left is 3, and it can't reach any further than that. So it should be just those spaces in particular. Because I don't have this corner, I don't think I exactly know where this is, but I should be able to... And we could do it the traditional way. Alright, so that should be 9. Like space 1, 2, 3, 4, which is already there, or 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So it would be space 1, 2, 3, 4, or it would be space, or it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so that tracks. So 1, 2, 3, 4 space 1. So basically, like we cut 1 off the end of that. 2, 3, 4 space, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, great. Great. So that should let us do a bunch of stuff. This should be a group of 7. Should be a group of 5. Should be 3. 3 again. No. 2. 2. 1, 1. Alright, that's a lot. So there's nothing smaller than a group of 3, which means this has to be filled in. for this column. And then we have only 5 total spaces. So there should be a space of overlap for the remaining group of 3 in this column. And this far to the right, it seems reasonable to conclude that this needs to be a group of 1. So that rules these out. Which in turn lets us conclude this has to be a group of 5. And there's only 3 spaces left, so that has to fill in that. This also is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That needs to be filled in. Great. Let's see. Hang on, we got this here. This should be blank, right? For this group to the right is 1. The 3 and the 2 alone for a moment. We should be able to... This has to be part of the group of 3, so that's done. Means nothing in particular, I think. I think that means nothing in particular. Ocean says, I wish this game allowed co-op versus, or even just allowing me to reinstall and jump into this puzzle instead of doing the entire game over. Yeah, there's really no... There's, like, overall chapter select, but unless you played along with everyone in sequence, I guess I'm not shocked that that isn't an option. Doesn't mean it wouldn't be welcome, just like, I can see why that might not happen. We should be able to do overlap here, right? Like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or 1, 2, 3, 4 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Huh. I think that means... like, that's our overlap? 4 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. We already know it has to be out to here. I think this is a reasonable deduction, as stupid as it looks. I'll do the... It would either be like 1, 2, 3, 4, or 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, space 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that looks correct. That also lets us make a finished group of 3 and a very exciting finished group of 1. We do, however, know that the middle group here is 5. And there's 6 spaces, so we can fill in overlap of most of that. We should be able to finish group of 1. Technically don't think I could include this at the moment, but I feel like I know what that looks like. Still haven't worked out anything there. So we know that in this row we have a group of 3 and a group of 7. We now have 1 space filled in, which means we can safely conclude that that is where the group of 3 spaces goes, and then that all of these are null and void. Which, as weird as this looks, we should be able to conclude that all of these spaces have to be blank. No, not this one, but these two, because it's a group of 4 and a group of 5 that can't fit here at the top. Which should mean that the group of 4 goes all the way over to here, which lets us complete a group of 4 and a group of 5. Doing a lot of, like, filling in corners in these puzzles recently. That makes this finished group of 3. Filling in the ones here feels like it's going to be really dumb and annoying. Oh, actually, look at this row. This is interesting. So we need to fit 2 groups of 4 here? 2, 3, 4, space. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that just, like, fills in the rest of this row, right? 1, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This space has to be blank. Makes this a group of 2. And we need a group of 1, which can only go in 1 space. Which we now know is part of a group of 2 that ends there. For that row. Okay. Oh, interesting. Now that we have this in place from like a really long time ago, we should be able to conclude that the group of 3 for this column can't reach all the way down to here. Which, again, means that we should be able to fill in this as the group of 4. This group of 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess this is... Oh, bother. The left one is off limits. The right one could still technically be part of the 8. But because we have a definite bottom endpoint, that means we can conclude that as part of the group of 4, which then lets us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 conclude nothing of any value further in that column for the moment. If we look at this, now we've concluded this reaches all the way down to the bottom, it should just reach 7 up. So 1, 2, 3, 4 additional spaces, and then those are blank. Okay. First group here is 1, and then another 1, so those should be empty. Close that group of 1. Group of 2, close group of 3. That's fun. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that should be finished column. Can't do that one just yet. But this should... Oh no, I'm thinking of a different column. I should be able to conclude that, hypothetically, this could be part of the group of 3 that reaches down to here. Can't be 2 spaces here. You also couldn't do 2 spaces, and then a blank, and then 3. So that means that the 2 can't go here. Like the 3 can only reach this far down, and you can't fit the 2 in there, which means the 2 has to go here. Okay, so that's a closed group of 1, and that's now a closed group of 3. We know that this bottom group has to be 3 spaces, and now there's only 3 spaces it can go in. And now... 2, 3, 4. So this should be blank. And also, this should be definite overlap between all possible iterations of where 4 spaces can go in this column. Only thing missing from this row is a group of 2, and there's 3 spaces, so that should be filled in. We also should be able to conclude at this time that this should be blank. Like, this filled in square here should be a single space, because it's too low to be anything else in the column. So we should be able to, like, blank out everything that wouldn't fit a group of 4 there, which then lets us fill in this space. So let's just close that off. But I guess we still don't know for sure which of the 2 spaces on either side of this group of 8 or this group of 9 in this column is filled in. Although it seems highly likely that it's just this one and it completes both of them and follows the pattern. 1, 2. And it can still technically be 2. Here, in this column, we know that we're still looking to complete a group of 3, and there's only 3 spaces it can go, so we do that. That, in turn, means that this has to be the furthest right thing in this row, because it is a group of 1, not a group of 2 that we're still missing, which should block off this possibility and fill in the stuff I was surmising a moment ago. Look at this. I need to find space for a group of 3, space 2. Should be able to do hypothetical overlap. So that would mean... like... I'll just undo the other ones. It could be like 3, space 1, 2, or it could be 1, 2, space 1, 2, 3. That should track. And if that's filled in, then that means 2, 3, 4, 5. So that should be rule-outable, which in turn means this is our group of 2, yeah? 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1. Okay, so what are we looking at here now? I'm missing a group of 4 that has to fit in here. Since there's 5 total spaces, I get a decent amount of overlap there. What am I missing from this one? 2, 1. It seems... I mean, being the next group after the 2 from the top, this has to be a group of 1. And then this has to be blank because I know that this space is filled in, so the missing group of 2 can't reach up that high. Get 4 from this row. Can I fit it? 2, 3, 2, 1, 1. Yeah, I can fit it. It turns out I can fit it. Okay, so because I see the presence of 4 separate, like, this is the group of 1 at the top. This is hypothetically part of the group of 2. And then I see what would be 3 remaining groups. I'm fairly certain I can say that this needs to be part of the group of 3. Because there's no way for this to connect to anything else to make it part of the 3. I can't fit like a group of 2 in another space. Like, that all seems like sound reasoning. But I should actually also be able to rule out horizontally whether anything is missing here. 3, 2, 6? No, that should be good. 3, 2, 3, 1? Also good. But that does also let me put a blank space there to consider that group closed. And if we're only missing 1 group of 2 now in this column, that means that we can rule out either of those spaces as being filled in. If we look at this, man, I've taken a weird path through this one, huh? If we look here at this column, top group is 2, which I just never closed in for some reason. And I've set enough spaces to know that the group of 4 has to go there, and then terminate, and then also 1 and 2, so the rest of that is done. Here we're missing just 1 group of 2, which is solved by that. Which then means for this column 2, 1, 2, 4, that's filled in. And here, that space is blank because we've completed that group of 4. These 2 squares have to be part of the leftmost group of 4 for this row, which means the middle one has to be filled in. Yeah, I think that's what I got there for the moment. If we count from the right, 1, 1, 1, 1. No, 1, 1, 1, 1. I think I completed some rows here. But this should definitely be the group of 2, because we already have 3 groups of 1 further to the right. So that should be part of the group of 2, and then that also makes this the last group of 1. Am I looking? Yeah, I'm still looking for 1 here. Could be either of those. Look at this. I haven't rolled that down at all yet. If we count here from the right side, we have a finished group of 3, and then the next one has to be a group of 2, and then that has to close off there, and that has to be filled in. And then this needs to be empty because we've completed everything there, which then makes this into the group of 2, the leftmost of this row, and should rule out this space because it's only missing a group of 1 here, and then that also fills this in as a group of 4. And this row's done. 4, 1, 2, 2. That also means that this should be filled in, which finishes this group of 5. Closes this off and puts a 4 there. And that's filled in. There's 3, 1, 1, 5, and also 1, 4, 1. Alright. I think I did it! That one felt really hard. Did it seem like that one was really hard? Actually, hold on. Oh, you can't. You can't click through those. Okay. I was gonna say, like, I could just click and drag if the spaces don't fill in that way, but they do when you have the black cursor out. This is still gonna take a minute, but I think this is correct. It's not entirely clear to me what I'm looking at. What was the prompt? Someone was like, "Hey, look, a thing." Oh, we're taking out the photo, right? Is it supposed to be the brown derby, or is it just like a folded rectangle? My favorite restaurant is the folded rectangle. I love me some nutritious 490-degree angle corner shapes. Boy. Chef Boyardee. I love to eat some rectangles. Is it supposed to be like a silhouetted face? I mean, it's just really not clear to look at it. It's a photograph. Everyone take a look at this photograph, because every time I do, it hurts my head. I mean, I assume the brown splotch is supposed to represent the Brown Derby, which is a somewhat famous restaurant in Los Angeles that looks like a big brown derby. But, like, I mean, let me put it this way. I feel like you would probably get a better result from this. It wouldn't be, like, super easy to guess it still, necessarily. But I feel like if instead of, like, trying to frame the whole thing with, like, abstract purple background, if you instead just, like, tilted it so that, like, the white edge was, like, the Polaroid photo edge or whatever, and then, like, you were filling in, like, a really broad idea of what the picture was supposed to depict, it might be something you could guess. It reminds me of a locket. I mean, in fairness, this is supposed to be stored inside of the locket. But at the same time, it sure very much just kind of looks like the locket, doesn't it? This also reminds me, pay out Genius. Although I think until we get someone willing to take the odds against, the gamble may not successfully apply. So it's possible that if I just am good at puzzle, which I like to think I am, but I've I've botched a couple in the past before I started doing these. But if I continue to be good at puzzles, may not be a useful application of prediction. But I'm gonna keep trying. Someday it'll happen. I don't believe it. You're in this photo, right next to my dad. Fine. Yes, I worked with your father for 10 years. We were partners. Capital P. It was really an awkward time for your mom. Has anyone ever seen the music video for a song by Grum that I'm almost certain no one in chat knows? Called Through the Night? I think it's called Through the Night. It is a great music video about a story of two, like, gay cops. It's very charming and delightful and emotional. Also, just a really good song, but I'm not certain that anyone here likes electronica enough to try Grum. But if there is someone listening to this who does like electronic music, look up Grum, G-R-U-M. They only have like one proper album release that I'm aware of, but it is one of my favorite albums, and I don't typically like albums. So it says stuff. You knew. All this time, you knew who I was. Well, not at first. I hadn't seen you since you were a baby. Joshua always tried to keep work and family separate. That's why we were gay cops at a big hat restaurant, which is a really fun sentence to say. But when I saw you working to solve a case, it all clicked. It was like seeing him alive again after all these years. Neko, you may not know music, but you could learn music. And that's not to say you should learn how to play music, because I am too stupid to do it. I can solve every puzzle in the game Myst except the one required to get into the audio land, because it requires me to know how to play music on a piano, and I can't do it even cheating. I'm just too stupid. Just too stupid. But why didn't you say something? Like what? Oh, hey, you know who you remind me of? My dead partner. Besides, it was never the right time. I needed you to respect me as an officer of the law, not one of your dad's old friends. I thought you hated me. I was just trying to keep you out of trouble. Joshua saved my butt so many times out on patrol. The least I could do is return the favor for his daughter. You were there when he... I don't want to talk about that right now. We're both too busy not solving this murder case. Look, maybe I can't stop you from trying to be a detective, even though you're kind of unqualified at this precise moment. God knows nothing could stop Joshua once he had a lead. So go right ahead. Look for evidence. Question people. I won't stop you, even though that is, like, technically obstruction of justice or something related to that. But I'm watching you like a hawk. As soon as I think you're going too far, as soon as I think you're in real danger, it'll probably be too late to stop you. But I'll try to end it. I just think... I didn't ask what you think. Do you understand? Yes. Good. I don't hate you, Honor. I get what you're trying to do, but I have to make sure you don't get yourself in above over your head. I owe him that much. Are you okay? Do you remember how, like, 20 minutes ago we were, like, comedically going to try and figure out who owned the big pink 4x4? And now a bunch of heavy stuff just happened? Beep boop. Yeah, it was just a lot of information. It's too much information. What happened to your father? Mom never told me the details, but I know they were encoded in a nonogram somewhere, and eventually we'll figure it out. He just went out to work one day and didn't come home again. And you were left with a blank space in your past. which is only a small fragment of completing one nonogram puzzle. I understand how frustrating that can become. But Detective Cross might be able to give you some answers. Didn't you hear what he said? He doesn't want to talk about it. Not yet, but he gave us permission to keep investigating. He may be coming around. I don't know. He wasn't exactly enthusiastic. Seems like everyone's telling me to give up. Just because everyone's against you doesn't mean they're right. Beep boop. Guess we'll find out. Let's get out of here. We still have to talk to whoever owns that car. Location unlocked backstage. It's a weird way of framing that, but yes, I guess technically we unlocked backstage. Anything else to say to Mom? You knew about Detective Cross, Nandayo? Found out about Detective Cross. You knew who he was this whole time. No point trying to hide it anymore. Yes, predictively by the narrative of this game, he was indeed the cop in question, both the single police officer you know and also the secret partner of your dead police father. I've known Jerry for years and resented him for being gay cops at a Big Hat restaurant with your father. You were working together trying to get me to stop investigating? I can't believe this. My own mother? Actually, forget that. I can't believe it. You didn't want me to be an actress. You don't want me to be a detective. What do you want, Mom? Is it the ghost of Dick Stanford? I want you to be safe, but whatever I try, you always have to do the opposite. We paid for your college tuition, you dropped out and started acting. I set you up with Ryan, a successful businessman, and you got a divorce. Alright, that... I can understand the frustration of the college argument. It's super weird to be like, I set you up with a man who you grew to loathe so much that you wanted a divorce and it's your fault. I can imagine a situation where that could technically be true, but like, that argument without context feels bad, man. Yeah, right, Mr. Generic Name? Like, he manipulated us, and then we divorced him. Like, that feels like... I don't like that argument. It doesn't work good. Doesn't that tell you something? It tells me you've still got a lot to learn, which is fitting because you didn't go to college. I'm getting sick of having to watch over you all the time. That might also be an erroneous conclusion to have reached. Then don't! I'm almost 30. I can make my own decisions, thank you. And look where that's gotten you. This is a great, healthy attitude. I'm sure this relationship will have no problems now or moving forward. Oh, and we're done, huh? Can I show her this photo? Did you know Detective Cross was in this photo? I feel like you should because you put it in a locket. Yes, and probably also has a flawless past. Of course not. Didn't know he'd be here tonight either. Too many surprises in one day, if you ask me. Somehow I blame you for this. You don't like him? I'm sure he's a good detective, but as I've said several times, because it's very fun to say, I resented him for being gay cops at a Big Hat restaurant with your dead father. He's a good friend of your father's, and I didn't expect to see him. Backstage? Backstage. Hey, look, the one person... Oh, she's gone. Is that Becky? She's the one person I was looking for, and it would be convenient if it was her. She's been in the bathroom since she left the ceremony. Do you think she knows that Dick's been murdered? I'm more concerned for her physical well-being. That seems like quite a poop. That seems like a really big poop. Knowing Becky, she'll probably think he deserved it for not giving her that award. Honestly, I would not put it past her, which is not great. Oh, now I can talk to her, even though it's implied that she walked away from me. Alright, I'm gonna catch you up to speed. So, Dick was... someone strangled Dick, you see, but then it turned out that because he was sober, someone poisoned Dick. Are you following so far? Also, at some point, we discovered that there were some dick-related rumors. How have you been in the bathroom? Welcome back. I was worried you were gonna stay in the restroom all night. What? Don't be stupid, Honor. I just had to fix my makeup for like 4 hours or whatever, okay? Did you hear what happened? Of course I did. The cops even made me give a statement. Like, what's the point? I didn't see anything. And if that wasn't bad enough, Bobby Price just tried to make a pass at me. It's hard being the center of attention. Sorry you didn't get the award, I guess. Sorry you didn't get Best Actress. If it's any consolation, we all thought you deserved it. Everyone knows I deserved it. Well, everyone except for those brainless nobodies in the Starshine Committee, apparently. You're a great actress, Becky. You don't need to win an award for people to take you seriously. But it would help if you didn't suck so much, like, personality-wise. You're really kind of crap. What would you know? You've never been shortlisted. Pretty crazy what happened to Dick. Eh? I'm gonna drill this bad joke into the ground. Listen, I like innuendo far too much to play this game like an adult. It's just not gonna happen. Let's be honest, he was ancient and his career was over. He deserved to die. That's right, I'm supposed to be a sympathetic character. And he was like murdered. Have you seen the inside of a retirement home? If I ever get that old and irrelevant, I hope someone does the same to me. I'm so sympathetic and likable. That's cool. Hey, Bobby Price made a pass at you? Can you blame him? I didn't even know he was back yet. Also, I could definitely blame him. Primarily for the reasons of the conversation we're currently still having.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Like, totally not great. It wasn't that long ago he was in a cell. Another innocent person put away by Honor, Mizrahi, and Scout. What a fearsome duo. Now, I would like to disparage her for that, but, like, I completely 100% agree. Our track record is not favorable at this precise moment. Anyway, enough about us. Let's get back to you, girl. Why don't you dish on Bobby Price? My favorite subject! Yeah, I don't know why he'd make a pass. I don't. Bobby started telling me all about his TV show, as if that's supposed to impress me? Well, that don't impress me much. Like, we all have TV shows. This is Hollywood. Still, he is kind of cute, and a spot on a talk show could be good for publicity. Just be careful. The case isn't over yet. He could still turn out to be a murderer. I'm thinking about going on his show, Honor, not marrying him. Not that long ago, I tried watching this, this unconventional British sitcom called The Peep Show, or Peep Show. And one of my favorite things is that, like, one of the two main characters is this kind of garbage human, but, like, he just feels like an adult man of his age should be married. And so, like, he just is constantly, like, thinking about marrying people. And, like, at some point in the show, he finally gets married. And on the morning of his wedding day, he's, like, having second thoughts. And he, like, encounters this, like, barista who's just, like, vaguely nice to him. And then he like, thinks to himself something like, I wonder if she's single. No, Mark, you don't have to marry everyone. That's how you got into this mess. Which, for some reason, is just one of the funniest things I've heard in a while. You don't have to marry everyone. That's how you got into this mess. I recommend that show. Except it's also really dark and weird. Also, she gave us a sick burn. I'm not stupid enough to get married like you did. Do we consider Becky to be a friend? Like, serious question. I know that, like, you would tolerate someone like Becky as a coworker because your job sort of depended on you interacting to some functional degree. But now that we don't work on the show, like, you would not consider Becky a friend in this circumstance, right? Because, like, she genuinely says, like, regularly hurtful things to Honor. Casey and Scout only friends. I mean, they're both good friends. Although I'm a little bit concerned that Casey only frequents establishments that are also owned by, like, drag kings and queens. I mean, it's a little funny, and it's fine if he wants to do that, but it does feel a bit weird. And it also, like, limits what you can do. Like, is there, like, a drag grocery store? How do you live? Let's present one of the many squares at an angle that is a nonogram puzzle that's been solved. Where did you get that? The cops found it on the dash of a pink 4x4 outside. Was that your car? Because it's been towed, girl. Good. All I wanted was for my parents to see me win a Starshine Award, and they couldn't even do that. Alright, just to turn the sick burn cannon back around, technically they wouldn't have seen you do that even if they showed up. Now I'm the Dick Stanford. I'm so stupid. Mom thinks she can buy my forgiveness with some hideous hot pink monstrosity that I would definitely drive? I'm glad it got towed. They can crush the darn thing for all I care. By the way, I'm gonna need a ride home tonight. Sorry, Becky. I know what it's like not to have your parents' support. It sucks. Why couldn't they just be here? You don't need them. You've got us. People who you don't respect. Or even like a little bit. Forget it. I didn't even win anyway. We've solved the mystery of the pink car. Now Detective Cross will finally trust us. I wouldn't get your hopes up. He only gave us that case to keep us busy. I bet he didn't count on us solving it so fast. We're a great team, like Holmes and Watson, Cagney and Lacey, Shaggy and Scooby. Ooh, what do you think the floating robot pal equivalent of a Scooby snack is? Keeping in mind that it's 90s technology, because I might naturally assume it's some sort of thumb drive or similar, like, small storage device. Maybe it's a zip disk? What's the precise here? Yeah, like floppy disk, maybe? Could be like, at this point, it's most likely like a CD, like a compact disc with like data on it. I don't know why I felt the need to specify what CD stands for. Do I really think my audience is that young? Maybe. Maybe you are. Oh god, I'm so old. Really need to talk about how much TV you're watching. Yeah, not the truly floppy ones, the, like, hard case ones. It would either be that or a CD, most likely, depending on what the precise year is. Like, early 90s would be more likely to be the... Oh, God, what's the measurement on that? Is that 3.5 that's the smaller one? We see Scooby nonogram. True. I mean, I guess the thing is that, like, literally whatever the correct answer is, it could also be converted into a nonogram puzzle. Diskette. I mean, I'm not sure if diskette technically distinguishes the type of floppy disk it is. I think technically both the large floppier disk and the smaller, I think they were called 3.5-inch floppy disks. I think both of those are still called floppy disks. Agus says compact disc. Is that like a laser disc that I put in my MCA Disco Vision? Please leave. No, I'm just kidding. That's good stuff. I have seen in my life one laser disc. I distinctly remember in middle school, my science teacher on like a random day, like wheeled in like one of the AV club like TVs, and it has a laser disc player on it that no one had ever used in the history of humanity. And then they put on like a documentary about the concept of spontaneous human combustion. And it's still one of the weirdest experiences I remember having in school. It ranks up there with the time that in one of my, like, geography classes, we had a substitute teacher one day, and he put on, like, some video about lakes, and just absolutely fell asleep. Just, like, unabashedly was just sleeping in the chair at the front of the room. And at some point, during the video about lakes, they mentioned Lake Titicaca, which is a very funny name. And this man, probably in like his 50s, like a heavier set gentleman who was sleeping right in the middle of our classroom teaching this class, suddenly just like in his sleep, like under his breath said like, Lake Titicaca. And then like basically went back to sleep. It was just so strange. Like, what a weird thing. I mean, agreed, Sniper Justin. Like, one of the things that made the Laserdisc thing so weird, other than the fact it's the only time that I've experienced a Laserdisc firsthand, was like, what a weird documentary it was. And also, isn't the concept of human combustion essentially debunked? I don't feel like that revelation came around since I was in high school. But then again, I'm old. No mystery will go unsolved. No stone will be left unpunished. When you need help, just call. Scout and honor. That doesn't work as well as Chip and Dale. It was a pretty good, it was a pretty good class taught by the sub, because, like, we just watched that video, and that was a funny thing that happened. I'm not sure I would say that the substitute teacher himself was like a particularly good substitute teacher, but I also wouldn't assume that he's not. It was peculiar that he did fall asleep during class, though. Come on, partner, there's a murder to solve. Yeehaw! Hey, wait up! I guess we're gonna go talk to... Oh, we got the dressing room, but it didn't say the dressing room was unlocked. I guess the dressing room technically unlocked when we got the ability to go backstage, it just didn't spell it out. Motion says, we had to watch a video about plating etiquette from 1960 when our accounting teacher was hungover. Oh, that's a fun sentence. At the time of the third viewing? Whoa, hold on. By the time of the third viewing? What do you mean by that? Did they make you watch the same video on, like, consecutive days? You were on your phones, like, the whole time, but weren't able to talk to each other? That's not great. I'm assuming Detective Cross is here? Back to the crime scene at last. It'll be easier to search the place now that Cross isn't breathing down our necks. Understood. Setting scan mode to high resolution. Here's a question. Let's predict. Do you think that when he says setting scan mode to high resolution, that we will be at minimum a 15 by 15 grid nonogram? You watched that Demolition. I have a problem with this. I know you had no say in this story being true, but I don't accept reality in which you watched that same plating etiquette video 12 times in an accounting class? In one school year? It says, you guys didn't learn etiquette at all. We're watching it again. Yeah, I have no doubt that was one of the worst teachers you ever had. Like, that's terrible. This also I think last week I made some reference to I Think You Should Leave, which is a fun show on Netflix that I also recommend. I don't know why I'm telling you what to do with your time this week, but I am. But, like, one of my favorite sketches from from the 2 seasons that are out so far, is one where, like, a driver's ed teacher puts on a video, and, like, all the scenarios described in the video are, like, about this woman with this really confusing profession. And for some reason, like, even though it's, like, a video produced for schools, all the actors in it are swearing like a bunch. And the whole sketch is just like, what is this? Where did you find it, and why are you putting it on? Her job is tables! I'm scanning. Oh my god. Hold on! The accounting teacher quizzed you on that horrible etiquette video? Oh, the story is making me dumber! God, I found the puzzle. Well, it wasn't 15 by 15, but it's a higher resolution than maybe our average at this point in the game. Oh boy, I'm gonna be here a minute. Might be the last one of the stream. Let's immediately go to purple. let's also I'm gonna put up the prediction. I don't know if anyone's gonna bet against me. Eventually, I'm probably gonna goof one, and someone would get paid out pretty well. All right, let's start. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Space 1, space 2, or 1, 2, space. I don't think you could technically consider this overlap, but it's close. 2 space 1 space 1. I don't know if that counts as overlap either. Because there's an extra blank space, I don't think that counts. But like, 1, 2, space, 1, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Found some overlap. That's not a cheese fork, it's a salad fork. I have, in my life, failed one, like, proper, like, public education test. Would you like to guess what the subject was? Here's a fun mini game for chat. Exactly once has this happened to me. And I'll explain why, because there is an explanation to it. Because I take my work super seriously and always have, and have studied for tests all my life when needed, but, like, was the nuisance kind of kid everyone hated who didn't actually need to study, but did anyway. Yeah, one test I technically failed. And I am salty about it to this day because I think it's garbage. I think the whole ordeal is garbage. I think I could probably get away with trying to do some overlap in this row. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's probably enough. I think that's enough. Maybe someday I'll be so good at these that I can sort that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, space, 1, 2, space, 1, 2. Or 2, space, 1, 2, space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I'm pretty sure I can rely on those 3. How about this? Demolition got the class in one guess. It was home economics, or whatever our school called that. But, can you guess? I don't think it's actually relevant. But I wonder if you can guess what it was within home ec. I wasn't good at home ec in general, and I'll be clear about that up front. But, like, to fail something requires a pretty significant investment of something from me. What is interesting here is that in these 2 rows, I can rule out, like, these have to be part of the group of 4 and the group of 5. So I should be able to eliminate some stuff from the top row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody in the car. So come on, let's drive. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And 3 could still fit there, which is a bummer. Don't think there's enough here. This is like less than 10. I don't think I can do theoretical overlap. All right, we got some good guesses here. Cooking, crafting, which I think arguably you could say, like, so yeah, sewing is also sort of in crafting. Actually, none of those. It was a laundry test. And I'll explain what happened because I'm salty about it and I have a platform, so I'll gripe. I think that was 7th grade. I think that was 7th grade. And I had like a really bad case of like sore throat. It might have technically been strep throat. I've never been totally clear on the difference. But I missed like a whole week of school, which was like really unusual for me because again, I'm that kid everyone hates. So I missed that whole week, and then I come back, and my, like, grumpy old home ec teacher is like, well, you missed a test the week you were out. And I was like, okay, what can we do about that? And she's like, you will take it, like, after school today. And there was no reading material, and there was no, like, anything that I could study at all, and clearly I missed whatever lecture she gave on laundry. So, like, it's essentially that nightmare scenario that people talk about. They're like, oh, I had a dream and I had to take, like, a final exam and I didn't study. Except, like, I had no choice in the matter. Like, there just was no way that I could study for it. Because, like, at best, that feels like something that's at least, like, a little subjective, is exactly how to do laundry. And so, like, I mean, yeah, no, probably I'm the only person ever to fail a laundry exam because I'm the only person ever to have been forced to take one. But, like, what it was that she, like, set up, like, 2, like, cardboard boxes that had, like, little fake dials on them. And you were supposed to, like, sort a bunch of random clothes into, like, the 2 washing machines, and also, like, set what type of, like, temperature and cycle you would use for that laundry. And, like, this is, like, 7th grade, and, like, maybe this is my privilege showing, but, like, certainly at that point in my life, my mom was still doing my laundry. And so, like, I'd never done laundry, and I was given no materials or time with which to study for this exam. And so I just, like, did my best and failed. But, like, it's such, like, nonsense circumstances. Yeah, right, Demolition? Like, now that I'm an adult who's done my own laundry, do you know what I do? I, like, set it to, like, a neutral thing and throw in a color catcher, which is, like, the best invention. Because it's, like, a little piece of fabric that you put in your wash, and you don't have to sort it. If anything leaks dye, it just catches it by actual force of sorcery, and all your clothes are fine. So, like, this test was irrelevant to my life anyway. But, like, also, I was given no opportunity to succeed, and so, like, I am so mad about it to this day, just on the principle of what garbage that is. It's a stupid concept for a test to begin with, but then, like, to, like, give me no possible way to succeed. Like, it's just so dumb. It just so dumb. I don't actually remember if dryer was involved, because I think the focus of this hypothetical test was, like, the settings, like, the temperature settings for the washing machine. I feel like I'm really gonna struggle with the rest of this. I don't know why I'm taking such a long aside talking about my failed laundry test. Oh yeah, she was an awful teacher. I mean, like, I've never had particularly good skills at, like, any of the home economics genre of skills. But, like, I remember, like, specifically trying to get her input during a cooking portion of that class multiple times. And I specifically remember multiple things that I tried to cook coming out wrong because she did not correctly assist me in a thing I didn't know how to do. She was a horrible teacher. She may not be the worst teacher I've ever had, but she ranks. She was a bad teacher. Echo says, I'm still not fully confident when it comes to laundry because my own parents don't go much further than separating colors from whites and hand washing fragile, lacy clothes. I mean, like, I feel like that's, like, a pretty typical amount of whatever. I'm certain some people go to more effort than that. But, like, I also benefit from being a guy who wears guys' clothing, and, like, I don't have particularly delicate stuff. So, like, everything just goes in the same load. And you just put in a color catcher, and you're like, I'm doing laundry! I'm an adult! I don't know why I talk on the internet. I just make myself look ridiculous at all times. So, I can technically rule out here... Like, I can't fit a separate group of 3 here, and this is already a group of 2. So I think I can rule out both of those spaces. It doesn't help me that much, but I was thinking about that. And yes, I appreciate the condolences, I guess. Demolition. Oh, hey, cool, look at this. A group of 4 for this row can't fit here. So I can rule that out. And that also means the top group here can't be... A top group of 3 can't fit there. So that's ruled out. Can you do something with 2, 2, 4? I should probably at least be able to do hypothetical overlap. 1, 2, space, 1, 2, space, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that one actually fills in. 2, 3, 4. Let's do that. You know what's funny? I just like an app game I play in my spare time, Disney Emoji Blitz. And if you've ever played like a free-to-play app game of any description, you'll probably be aware of the fact that like 90% of those ads are for other mobile games you're not playing. And just today, like an hour before the stream or something, I got an ad for like a mobile-based like nonogram game, and I was like, huh, interesting. Says, my cooking teacher was absolutely awful. She mocked me all the time for being fat and accused me of living off McDonald's. I was overweight because kids don't control how much their parents give them, but I never ate junk food. Her food was disgusting, too. She made us do all our baking without sugar or chocolate. See, that happened. I made, like, cupcakes in my home ec class, and, I used the wrong kind of sugar, because, like, could not emphasize strongly enough how much I don't know about cooking. And so, like, I was like, hey, is this the right kind of sugar? And she's like, whatever! God! And so I used the wrong kind of sugar, and those were not good cupcakes. They were not good. Don't make cupcakes with granulated sugar. I learned something from that class. Just let me do it. Oh, okay. So here, we can now rule out everything but the 2 spaces on either side of that, which is neat. I think I can actually do anything else with that information, which is a bummer. Yeah, no, that gives me surprisingly little else to work with. Wow, that's just confusing, Demolition. One time a kid was sick with cancer or something, and you tried to help her, and the teacher marked you down because you were doing the workload of 2 people. Like, did they have a problem with you trying to help? I feel like a teacher should want people to learn. I feel like a teacher should want people to learn. Is this a hot take? It's starting to feel like this is a hot take. And since I keep tangenting, this will almost definitely be the last puzzle tonight. It's already 9. It's cool. I don't think this will take so long that I'll be mad about that, but we got a ways to go. Okay, so they were mad that your work was behind, but they weren't appreciating the fact that you were trying to help someone else. I mean, were they, like, aware of that? If they're aware of that, I feel like they should either be, like, going out of their way to make up that gap, or at least respect the fact that you're doing it. It just feels weird. That I am missing something here. Okay, hold on. So it's effectively 9 spaces vertically. 5, 6, 7, 8. I should be able to do hypothetical overlap here, right? Be like 1 space 1 space 2. Yeah, it'd be like 4 down from here. Be 4 down, or it would be 1 further down. Because there's no... I think that's just those 4. Isn't that essentially a mathematical proof that it's those 4? Because, like... it can't reach all the way to the bottom because I've established that this one is here. And, like, that's... Yeah, this... Yes. Because of the positioning of the one square I know, I should be able to fill that in, I think. I think so. Oh, that... Oh, demolition, no. That's such a bad story. In art class, all the girls got A's or B's, and all the boys got C at best because girls are just more creative. Ooh, that's bad. I mean, that reminds me of the time that my, like, 5th grade gifted teacher was reluctant to let me go to the nurse's office. And to be clear, like, it's not like I was some kind of hypochondriac as a kid and I asked to go to the nurse's office a lot. There was, like, one day that I had my first ever migraine in 5th grade, and my teacher was like, well, no, boys don't get migraines. And then just, like, forced me to stay in class until I, like, literally was, like, so sick I, like, couldn't, like, function anymore. So nothing fits here, so that's ruled out. Since they're such small groups, I don't get anything other than that. This could technically all be part of 4. It's not useful. What about this? These can't... Can these be part of the same group? 1 space 2 space, or like 1 2. Yeah, this could be same or separate. I think same or separate. This could overlap as part of the 5. Ah, these can't overlap as part of the 3, though. Because if we extended this 2 spaces, it doesn't overlap this, and there wouldn't be enough space to separate them. Which should mean that these both have to be filled in. And that blank. It could hypothetically, like, this could be the 2 or the 3. Oh, that's also bad. Neko says her art teacher gave her bad grades because she didn't like her, like, inspired style of art. Like, that's not how you grade art. And a college professor who would not give a grade higher than 95%, even if you got every question correct. That shows a fundamental misunderstanding of math, Mr. Generic Name. So many bad teachers. Oof. This is a really tough one. And I'm not doing very good at it. Did anyone take the fail on this one? Could be time. Oh, actually, at this point, there wouldn't be enough space in this column for there to be a group of 3 and then this be a separate group of 1. So that means this 1 has to be part of the group of 3 and can't reach any higher than this. Which doesn't quite help, but it looks good. Man, I am like... I've ruled out such an unhelpful group of things at this point. I need something. Do this. Can I do overlap for this row now that I have a couple things in place? Doesn't work yet. Oh, hold on a second. Yes, this 3 that I just put in should confirm that this is our group of 4 for the column, and then this would be overlap for the remaining group of 2 for that column, which Doesn't let me do anything in this row yet, because this could be the group of 3, and then the group of 2 still technically fits there. It should be able to do something here. It technically can't. Back to this concept I had before. So, like, hypothetically, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just gonna ignore the rest of it. So it'd be like one space, like space, 2 space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that should technically apply. There's a little weirdness with an extra space and this being in a certain spot, but... Actually, wait. 1 space, 2 space... Yeah, at this point, this either has to be part of the group of 2 or the group of 6, so I think that works. So there's no group of 4, so these have to be separate. Which then means that this has to be the group of 3, and this has to be the group of 2. Alright, that's some progress if I'm doing my logic right. We now also have some additional overlap here for this group of 5. And this should become the group of 4. So that's neat, but there's still 2 places the 1 spot could go. This has to be a group of 3. Too far to the right to do anything else. Hold on a second. 1 space. Yeah, I can't do any math with this other group of 3 just yet. Ocean says, bad teacher literally wrote his thesis on numbers and was a transplant from Denmark. 90% of the class failed out by finals. I did 2 with a 69.9%, which was off by 1 answer to pass. Yikes. I don't understand teachers who feel like it's a badge of honor for, like, a really high percentage of their students to, like, do poorly in their class. Like, your job is to teach stuff. Again, is it really such a hot take that a teacher should want to teach? I submit that it should not be. These columns suck, man. I hate these columns. Ooh, okay, hold on. So,
giraffe.
If we take this group of 3, which has to be part of the group of 5, I think that's technically true. So, if we assume it was a group of 3, it doesn't work because there's something to the left of it, and 3 has to be the group furthest to the left, right? So if we then instead assume that it is a group of 5, if we filled it all the way in this direction, it wouldn't overlap this, which means that this group of 5 has to be separate from this space, which is part of the group of 3. Because of where that X is currently located, there's only one way that's physically possible, which also tells us where the group of 3 exists. And, hopefully, helps me eventually solve this puzzle. This column just has a 2 in it. That hurts my feelings. There's just so many small numbers. But doing that finishes this. Because that's the only place the 1 can go once we close off that group of 5, which is now determined. And since we have a left group, we know that this has to be part of the group of 2. And that this 3 can't reach any further than there. which rules these out from being parts of any of the groups of 2 in either of these columns. Doesn't help over here because everything is 1s. We should be able to conclude that... Yeah, this is the only place a 1 can go for the bottom group in this 3 and 1 column. This should be blank, which makes this the group of 3, and then this becomes the group of 2. 2, 3, 3. And here we have 3 and 5. Here we have... This is fine. This all fine. That all fine. Haven't narrowed this column down yet. Or this one. The 1 could go basically any. Need some help over here as well. Although, if we look at the 3rd column, group of 2 for the bottom can't go there where there's only 1 available space, which means that this has to be the group of 2 that ends there. Then means we get an overlap space for the group of 3 in this column. Which means that if somewhere in these 4 spaces there has to be a group of 3, we get an additional overlap space. And if the group of 3 is over here, that means that... I probably should have been able to rule that out already. Nobody pay attention to that. I'm super smart and good at stuff. Okay, so now we know that... I don't want to mess with this one yet. Probably draw some conclusions about the group of 2, but I don't like them. I don't like those conclusions. Okay, so there's nothing larger than a group of 2 in this column, and we've now created one, which means that for the bottom row, that's our group of 3 and that's our group of 2. Alright, bottom 3 rows all look good. Oh, this is actually kind of weird. Look at this now. We have a confirmed blank space from this group of 2 in this column, which means that since I can no longer fit a group of 2 further left than this point, it has to be the first group of 2 for the row. And since I have a space here and the next group over is a group of 2, that means that this should be filled in as a group of 2, which then tells us specifically where that last space goes to finish off that group of 6. Oh wow, look at this row. Somehow we've reached a point where I don't exactly know where 2 of the spaces for this big group of 8 goes, but I know exactly where everything else goes, which is fun. That also tells me that this is precisely where the group of 2 goes for the first column. And we know where one of the groups of 2 there is. And that all checks out for now. Here, this should be a group of 3, which should tell us precisely where the group of 8 terminates. Which leaves only 1 space to be filled in somehow for this, and because this column needs only a group of 3, that should be blank. Which means that I've done something wrong. Uh-oh. I guess Vasco's way good at stuff. Much better than me at arts and crafts and the guitar. I love that people just, like, learn the stupid crap I say and then say it back to me. That's my favorite. Here's the problem. Almost everything I've looked at so far feels like it makes sense. And in fact, it feels like it would make sense for this to be a group of 6. Yeah, that would work and make sense. But I can't account for this. This is just wrong. It would make for a group of 4, but there's no other way to offset this. So at some point, I definitely did something wrong. It was only recently that I had enough space here to determine that this had to be group of 2 and this had to be group of 2. I'm pretty sure I already had this space filled in. So I'm confused because I feel like all the logic I've followed so far works. Just made a pirate hat in Stardew Valley. Oh, that's good. That's a good choice. Particularly because I find it unlikely that that game has a BFF. Alright, I'm gonna just pretend that this bad row doesn't exist for a minute and see if I can work out what I did wrong here. Because if I look at this row, I'm noticing that... I should have, like, that's a group of 3 and that's a group of 2, right? It really doesn't seem... Just don't get it. 1, 2, 3, 2, base. Scrondied. Scrondied. I guess says everyone here is always worth it. I'm not sure what specifically that's referring to, but I agree with that sentiment. Okay, hold on. Hold. Something is really janked. A lot of this is definitely right, but... Like, if we look at this, right? In this column, it should be a group of 2, and then a group of 2, and then a group of 1. But if that's true, like, this can't be filled in. Because there's only groups of 3. So, like, that makes this column make sense, but not the row? Question mark? Well, not so much that as then, like, this... How is this a group of 2? Trying really hard to salvage this. Even though I'm pretty sure no one bet against me. I undo the damage summon. 3 and 5. Is one of the counts off in these rows? 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 5, 2, 2, 6, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 3, 3. Something's weird there, too. This row's, like, really messed up. I did something bad here. Because this space that I know is definitely filled in could probably be part of the group of 2. Although, maybe not. So I'm pretty sure these 2 spaces are right, which would inherently mean that 6 spaces from the right has to be that furthest right group. And then there should be a group of 2 in exactly this spot? That doesn't mesh with this either. It also creates a problem here. And if I don't... I'm so confused because, like, I feel like everything I've done can be worked out if this column is a group of 4 and it just isn't. I'm gonna try and fix this. I don't think I can do it. So hold on a second. This would have to be filled in, which would mean that the group of 4 is this, which means that's blank, which also isn't correct. Wow. I mean, just wow, dude. And, like, this would be the group of 3 for this column. And then, like, this would need to be filled in. But then, like something's definitely off here. Yeah, this I think we're gonna have to come back to this one next week. I've been able to salvage a couple of these so far, but I did something wrong somewhere. I know there were a couple times I made like a slightly speculative, like hypothetical overlap. Well, some went bad here, and I don't think I could fix it. Because every time I look at something, it's like correct until I try to correct an error I find somewhere else, but then that generates a new error. This is probably like closer than I want to believe it is. But like this in particular feels like a real problem. But like it's the only way. Maybe like, what if I assume that the group of 3 is there instead? If I assume that this could then be a group of 3, and that could be the group of 3 up there, and then this would be group of 3 and group of 2. Think, what if despite myself, I want to keep trying to fix this. And I shouldn't, because it's so stupid and bad. Just like so much of this is right that I want to keep trying it. Could be group of 3 and group of 2. Those track 5. I didn't miscount that. 2, 3. Two and 4. No, undo. It becomes 6. I don't know what to do. Like, this I'll sort out last if I have to. But this would make this 2, and would make that 8. This can't be here, though. There's something wrong here. Let's do it this way. Can I No, I'm still on. Let's put those there, right? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This feels correct. Like, all of that feels correct. 2 and 3, 2 and 4, 1 and 1. Maybe that's it. Maybe, like, just those two that I was pretty sure were there just aren't. And if I work out the rest, I can get there. This is a problem. Unless it's not. If that's the 3, then that mostly works out. And then... If I move that to... No, not that. Three, four, five. I mean, this is still wrong. How is that wrong? All right, I have a something bad here. But all the rows are right. Oh, and this is not correct, huh? 1 and... Eight's in the right place, then 1 has to go here. So, either... One and 2 and 2. 1 and 3 and 3. This could then... No, that doesn't... No, but that's 6, yeah? But this is still wrong. That's still wrong. And I mean, like, this is... These are right. That I'm pretty sure is right. I mean, if this was just a bigger number, that'd be fine. What else is wrong here? 2, 1. Yeah, the 1 doesn't fit there. What if... No, that's... I'm not even sure how to pay out this prediction when we get there. I might just call this a wash if I manage to complete this. 2... I'm just so close at this point that I don't want to give up, but, like, also, I've done something very bad and wrong and stupid. The problem is that, like, if I do this to correct that 6, then... This would have to be blank. And then this goes to the... Oh, man. I did not make that look good. At all. Alright, hold on a second. So... No... Okay. So nobody bet on have to retry, and technically I didn't retry? So I'm just gonna... Isn't there a... Whose outcome... Isn't there a way to... Oh, if I delete it, then I will refund points. There. Ow. It's a PDA doc. Okay. Looks a little more like a computer mouse, which I guess is close. God, that's like the worst. I love ending the stream on that. That was so bad. That was so horrible. Wow, it's What is it? What is... Yeah, I know, right? Necrosis, it still looks like a rock. This is a weird joke to make when every time we solve a puzzle, I'm not clear on what the thing is. I've been able to guess about 4 of them in the entire run-through of the game so far. It's a dock for the PDA we found earlier. Good news! It provides a serial interface, which means I can use this to access the PDA. I just need a moment to break the password protection. No! No, not this! Oh, cripes, no! Oh, this is not 5. How was I thinking this was a 4 grid? That's bad. Now I'm gonna, like, lose points or whatever. What's, 2... that would mean this has to be 3. This has to be like this. This has to be this. I panicked on that first one because I was not... I wanted to end the stream and I didn't get a save option. So I didn't do it. Are there consequences to my actions, or is this like living on Earth where that's not true? I mean, these definitely aren't like a super welcome... Oh, screw this. Screw this noise. We can do that amount of overlap. Threes sort of work that way. I mean, 1 and 3 is a this. This makes this a 2 and also a 2. And there needs to be a group of 2, so it's like... Isn't that what that... Oh, I guess it wants this and this. And then this is... that. And I need 2? This feels mean-spirited. I don't like this. Like, I'm so out of time. Like, I just did, like, the hardest puzzle I've done in the whole game, and it's like, great! Do it really fast! And it's like, come on, man! I literally want to go to bed now! Don't yell go really fast at me, that sucks! Like, at least give me warning! Like, what was that? Like, I don't, like, approve of that at all. That's such a lousy way to live your life, man. Hello? What? I obviously peaked, but the microphone's working, right? I was genuinely very upset! I can't help it that, like, I got really upset. I apologize if that was too loud, which it obviously was, but, like... just, like, that's not... Don't do that! That's not a cool way to do that at all. I want to nap now! That was really hard, and you're like, oh, I got you! 2 and 1? Get out of my house. God, sucks. So these are not... I don't know, man. This? This. I get no sense of accomplishment from the game just, like, being mean. Like, I already felt like garbage and, like, wanted to stop streaming, and it was like, ah, I got you! And I just, like, that sucks, man. That sucks so much. That's not a cool thing to do. That's like Sierra Games being like, yeah, like, you can get to, like, a checkpoint in the game where you can't return to earlier locations and also not have all the items you need to solve puzzles, so that your save state literally cannot complete the game. Or, like, you know, old, like, Nintendo-era video games that, like, didn't have, like, any kind of checkpoints or levels or continue system. Even though they weren't arcade games anymore. Like, I'm just really upset about that, man. I mean, I definitely, like, just conceptually, Demolition, who's played through this game in chat, is saying, like, he feels like this goes against the principles of the game's design. And, like, Yeah, I mean, I feel like when you make a game like this, you're doing it for like a casual like puzzle crowd or what have you. Time limits for like a complex logical puzzle like aren't cool. Yeah, Sniper Justin, or it's like another surprise boss after you used all your items on the main boss. I'm in. I have access to Dick's files. These are not safe for work. Great. Was he working on anything recently? There is a spreadsheet file last edited earlier today. I swear to God Almighty himself, the creator of all things, that if you start another puzzle right now, you will die. And I know that you are a fictional character in a video game. But don't test me. Best new comedy. $26,500. Off the grid paid. Best actor. $33,750. Graham Nana paid. Best actress. $30,760. Sarah O'Hara paid. They're all Starshine Award winners. Dick must have been taking bribes for the awards committee. Otter, there is one more. Murder, Miss Terry? Disqualification. $50,000. Paid. Someone paid $50,000 to disqualify us? And it's clearly my ex-husband because evidence? There is no name here, but didn't Ryan pay that exact amount to an anonymous bank account after having a clandestine meeting with Dick who received all these payments? I think it's time we had a talk with my ex-husband. Oh, thank you for 15 minutes later allowing me to save the game. I want to say really rude words that I don't like to say on stream. This game, like legit, and like I know I'm like being like super salty Vasco right now, and I'm not gonna pretend like that's not true. But like this game needs saves. Like it just needs normal save controls. You should be able to save during dialogue in a visual novel game. Like, visual novels are supposed to be like novels where you can pick up and drop them. It's so weird to me that I have to wait for them to, like, solve a clue and deconstruct its meaning in order to save the game. That's not normal. That's bad design. It's just not good. And I remember the first week when I struggled to save at an appropriate time, that I looked up an old Steam file from when this game, or Steam, like, forum thread from when this game first came out. And they basically just said, like, we didn't have the technology to save the game. It would break everything else. And I'm like, then you didn't finish making the game. Like, that's a pretty fundamental feature of this type of game. So my response to that is that you didn't finish making it. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. That's kind of on you. I really don't like that it uses the European dating system, but that's because I'm not European. So let's go back to the really loud title screen and then close it. Yeah, save it. Like, okay, so like, you can design a game where like limited opportunities to save make sense, and I have no problem with that if it's implemented reasonably. But like a game that functions like a novel should allow you to stop at any point you'd like. Like, I would even make a concession to say that, like, maybe you don't have to be able to save during puzzles. It wouldn't necessarily be ideal, but I would be okay with that. But, like, it is essential to me to be able to save outside of puzzles. Outside of puzzles. So this went well. I hope you've enjoyed this installment of Murder by Numbers. I do like this game. That is, and I've said it since the first week, that is, like, that's a pretty fundamental problem to the game. Like, that should be addressed. You should not ship a game like that. It's just not good. I apologize for yelling. I know that you don't even hear it because the microphone is calibrated specifically to stop that. But, like, I got really mad when the game gave me timed puzzles after I wanted to save. Which, you know, A, that I don't like timed puzzles, and B, that I want to be able to save. So, that being said, we've now saved the game, and it's definitely time to end the stream because the game made me play for like almost 20 minutes longer than I wanted to, which isn't cool or chill, which also describes my current state as a person. Neither cool nor chill. But we do still have time for you all to locate the secret Squirtle. Now, somewhere on the couch behind me, I've hidden a secret Squirtle. If you can see a Squirtle, like this guy, that one's not a secret. But mostly everywhere else is fair game. And keep in mind, if you are able to locate a secret Squirtle, it is, of course, an omen of good luck in the week to come. So while I attempt to center my emotions, because I am mad, bro, and I'll have another sip of this 100% juice apple, I will allow those of you still watching who have somehow endured this entire Oyster Carnival of a stream to try and guess where you think the secret Squirtle might be hiding. And I will gather those guesses in a moment, and we'll go take a look. Okay. So. It's the... Under Grub. It's an interesting guess. Under the thing under Squirtle. See... Behind Cool Sunglasses Dude. Our off-brand cool spot. Under Carlos, because Mr. Generic Name will always guess Carlos, and I respect that tremendously. Behind the... with the skull mask. I assume you mean... Hollow Knight? He's the sculliest friend I can think. Let me know if you're thinking of someone else there. And I, of course, see behind Queen Naomi, who very big. So thank you for the 500 bits. I appreciate it. I don't like getting... I like ranting on stream. I don't like being actually mad on stream. But, you know, I'm human, so I yelled real loud. And this game needs save files! Let's go take a look. I'll start over here because it is convenient to do so. Here's Hollow Knight, and I did hide something back there. But it was a little pirate friend and not a Squirtle. I would also like to draw your attention to the fact that I made a totem pole of horizontal creatures. It's a Spider-Man on top of a Brontosaurus, on top of a unicorn, on top of a Triceratops, on top of a Stegosaurus. And I don't think anyone else cares, but I thought that was a lot of fun. And let's go to the opposite end of the couch. This Squirtle, not a secret. Behind this Grub, Ninja Turtle, not a Squirtle. And behind the Grub itself, you may notice a very large Eevee. But alas, not a Squirtle. What else have we? I question the structural integrity of this large narwhal, but we'll give it a shot in a moment. First, so someone guess under Hollow Knight, hiding back there. It's our good, fanciful, mustachioed narwhal friend. Behind off-brand cool spot, why that's Baby Yoda. Again, not a Squirtle. Now, we attempt to put you aside there for a second. I think that'll work. Nothing hiding behind Naomi, but, of course, more Eevee. Underneath. I think Mr. Generic Name's guess is the only remaining guess. That perhaps under our good friend Carlos would be a secret Squirtle. Wouldn't you know it? Looks like he was right. I do also want to point out that I gave the Banana Man the donut from our donut cat. Because apparently yesterday was National Donut Day here in the US, and I just missed that entirely. But congratulations, Mr. Generic Name. Indeed, he was under Carlos. And in case you weren't here yesterday at the end of the stream, now there's not only Carlos Classic, who is indeed Clawsome, as we all know. Now there's tiny Carlos. Look how small he is. I bought him last week after the stream. He's very good and small. Look how very small he is. I love both of my crab sons so much. Also, I like doing this. One of my favorite things about the very small Squishmallows is that his tag is like basically as long as his whole body is. Baby Carlos is so good, and he has all the tiny feetses, and he's got the big hug energy. He's just everything I could want in an even smaller crab son. God, this crab has cheered me up more than most things in my lifetime. I love Carlos so much. I have nothing else to say. I'll be back next week to struggle through some more notograms. And in the interim, I will be back next Friday for some more AI the Somnium Files as we rapidly approach the conclusion of that mystery in preparation for the sequel slightly later in the summer. Again, I think that'll probably be like the 3rd week of July. I think that's how that math works out. But that'll do it for this stream, as embarrassing as it's been. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you, and I hope to see you again soon. I also hope that if you are in any sort of educational context, that your teachers want you to learn things instead of just being horrible people or muttering Lake Titicaca under their breath. Yeah, everybody stay safe, take care, and I'll see you soon. Good night, everybody.